Chapter 5:15. Under everyone's envious gazes, Zhao Ziki quickly came to Lin Xian's side and said in a low voice, "Thank you." Right now, her feelings toward Lin Xian were very complicated. As a captive, she should hate Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian didn't abuse her during this period of time. Instead, he gave her a 2,000-year-old spirit fruit. This made her a little confused. She didn't understand what Lin Xian was planning. "What are you thanking me for? You're my wife. This is what I should do." Lin Xian waved his hand and pulled Zhao Ziki into his arms. Zhao Ziki's body stiffened. She didn't know why Lin Xian would do such an intimate action in a public place. Soon, Lin Xian transmitted his voice. "Don't move. Yu Qingqing is watching us." Sure enough, Zhao Ziki felt two cold eyes staring at them. Their heaven-defying luck did attract Yu Qingqing's attention. However, after observing for a while, she didn't find any flaws, so she could only give up. "Okay, the items are distributed. Let's go to the next place," Yu Qingqing said. Everyone left happily, discussing their gains from just now. On the other hand, Lin Xian frowned slightly. He had a bad feeling about this. Everyone went back the way they came. Soon, the mountain walls on both sides broke open. Dozens of giant tentacles danced like demons. The cultivators in the group didn't expect there to be danger in the dark. Their vigilance was very low. Soon, cultivators screamed as they were pulled to the ground by the giant tentacles. "Not good, they're demonic beasts. Everyone break out." Yu Qingqing's face was cold. She didn't sense this unknown threat and could only organize a temporary counterattack. However, the tentacle monster was clearly much stronger than the vampire bats. Ordinary early-stage, spirit-detecting realm cultivators couldn't hurt the soft tentacles at all. Only Yu Qingqing could break through the defense of the giant tentacles. "Let's go. We'll save as many as we can." At this time, Yu Qingqing had no time to care about the others. She led the disciples of the moon embracing pavilion forward. Puff, puff, puff. The other cultivators screamed and fled frantically. Two of the tentacles quickly rushed towards Lin Xian and Zhao Ziki. Zhao Ziki shouted and waved her hand, forming a huge palm of light that covered the sky and rushed towards the sky. However, when these palms hit the tentacles, they only made earth-shattering noises and did not hurt them at all. Lin Xian punched out. Golden light filled the sky and swept out in all directions. However, he was only able to blast the tentacles away. He was unable to break through its defense. What a strange tentacle! Lin Xian discovered that his terrifying strength had been diffused by the soft tentacle in a clever manner. Unless he used his sword intent to forcefully break it, he would not be able to injure the other party with just his physical strength. Fortunately, he had secretly laid down the black dragon flames. At this moment, he quickly activated the black dragon flames, forming black flames that burned fiercely. The black dragon's flames were abnormally terrifying. Those tentacles were set ablaze the moment they came into contact with the flames, twisting and evading them. Seeing this, everyone followed behind Lin Xian and broke out of the encirclement. Yu Qingqing led the disciples of the moon embracing pavilion outside the stone door. Only then did she heave a sigh of relief. That was close. "We almost died inside just now. It's a pity for those affiliated sect martial artists. Forget it. The situation just now was urgent. Senior apprentice sister, you couldn't save them. Let's go." Several disciples of the moon embracing pavilion wanted to leave this place. And at this time, the sound of breaking air came from the stone door again. One figure after another scurried out in a sorry state, panting heavily. "Damn it, we finally escaped. I thought we were going to die inside." Everyone had a feeling of surviving a disaster. The disciples of the moon embracing pavilion were stunned. With their strength, They were only able to escape with the help of Yu Qingqing. How did these people come out? Could it be that the monster bear retreated? Very soon, the disciples of the Moon Embracing Pavilion learned that a mysterious flame actually appeared in the cave and burned the monster away. Everyone was able to escape. Everyone was surprised, but did not think too much about it. After all, the interior of this palace was very strange. Since a tentacle monster could appear, it was not strange for a flame to appear. However, Yu Qingqing frowned slightly. Her gaze swept over those disciples who escaped, seemingly thinking about something. In the depths of the palace, the disciples of the Divine Bird Palace were fighting a giant monster beast. It was a minotaur monster with a body like a mountain. It held a giant bronze axe in its hand and swung it in all directions. The axe shadows were continuous, and each strike had the power to kill a spirit detecting realm martial artist. The people of the Divine Bird Palace did not dare to fight back and could only hide far away. Not only that, when their attacks hit the Minotaur monster, they only created sparks but did not leave any substantial damage. What kind of monster is this? How can it be so strong? Senior Apprentice Brother Jiao, what do we do? Do we still want to attack? Jiao Demonic Flame's face sank. He did not think that this monster would be so difficult to deal with that they could not suppress it. However, he was unwilling to retreat at this time because there were several milky white crystals behind the Minotaur monster. The dove Demonic Flame's gaze towards them was filled with intense heat. Hold on a little longer. Find a way to lure this beast away. While the Divine Bird Palace was attacking the giant Minotaur monster, Xian and the others were also rushing over. After the destruction of the tentacle monster, there were only 11 people left in the team, which was almost half of what it was before. Yu Qingqing took the lead and hid nearby, looking at the battlefield. Hey, it's the ancient demonic cow clan. He turned to everyone and said, "This is an ancient demonic cow. It should be at the peak of the spirit detecting realm. You must be careful." Peak of the spirit detecting realm. No wonder the people of the Divine Bird Palace could not take it down. The Divine Bird Palace is fighting so hard. They must have something good. Everyone watched excitedly. Lin Xian was also curious. He focused his soul power on his eyes and looked over. Soon he found the white crystal. Essence of the earth. Then Lin Xian's eyes lit up. When he had obtained the essence of the earth, its effect was simply heaven-defying. No matter how serious his injuries were, he could quickly recover. The essence of the earth's effect was even better. Not only could it instantly heal injuries, but it could also cleanse the body, allowing a martial artist's body to achieve another breakthrough. It had to be known that martial artists' cultivation was to constantly improve their bodies. During this process, there were some martial artists with powerful bloodlines who had an innate advantage. This was because they were born with extremely powerful physiques and bloodlines. If ordinary martial artists wanted to catch up with them, they would need to use heavenly treasures to cleanse their bodies, strengthen their bodies, and improve themselves. Moreover, the essence of the earth was also very tempting to martial artists with bloodlines because it had a certain probability of strengthening their bloodline power. Therefore, the essence of the earth was definitely a good thing. Not only Lin Xian, but everyone's hearts were burning. They wanted to rush up immediately, but they also knew that even the Divine Bird Palace could not solve it. Even if they went up, it would be useless. The huge gap between the spirit-detecting realm could not be made up by numbers. In this regard, Lin Xian was not worried. He had this little white monkey's treasure bowl, so he should be able to get the essence of the earth. However, he was only worried about what would happen after he got the essence of the earth. Chapter 5:16. If he was targeted, then it would be troublesome. Therefore, what he had to do was to make the scene even more chaotic. In this way, he could take action in the chaos and secretly take away the earth essence. Everyone's eyes were burning for the earth essence behind the ancient demon bull. However, no one made a move. They silently watched the disciples of Divine Bird Palace fight with the ancient demon bull. Yu Qingqing was even more focused, looking for the ancient demon bull's weakness and opportunity to attack. In contrast, Lin Xian was the calmest. At this time, a young man with a hooked nose suddenly turned his head and stared at the direction where Lin Xian and the others were hiding. "Who is it? Come out." An angry roar exploded above the palace like thunder. The disciples of Divine Bird Palace were shocked and stopped fighting and withdrew from the battle. The people of Moon Pavilion were also surprised. They did not expect Divine Bird Palace to find them so quickly. "That man is Wuji, the strongest tracker of Divine Bird Palace," Zhao Ziki explained in a low voice. "I see." Lin Xian suddenly understood. No wonder the other party could find their existence so easily. However, Zhao Ziki was better in this regard, because the people of Divine Bird Palace glanced at them and did not find Lin Xian and Zhao Ziki's abnormalities. "I was wondering who it was. It turned out to be a fellow disciple of Moon Pavilion. Since you're here, why don't you show yourself?" Jiu Moyin snorted. "Nothing. I just don't want to disturb your battle." Yu Qingqing responded. The disciples of Divine Bird Palace looked at Yu Qingqing and the others with some hostility, but Jiu Moyin seemed very relaxed. "Since you're here, why don't we work together?" With their current strength, it was impossible to lure the ancient demon bull away, let alone seize the earth essence behind. Jiu Moyin walked out and began to discuss with Yu Qingqing. Then the two discussed and decided to work together. "Everyone, in addition to the earth essence liquid, there are also many treasures in the demon bull cave. Let's work together. When the time comes, Yu Xianzi and I will not take those treasures. We'll let you distribute them." Hearing this, everyone was overjoyed. In front of Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyin, there was no chance for them to get a share of the earth essence. However, getting the treasures from the demonic ox cave in the morning was not bad. One had to know that the ancient demon ox was much stronger than the Bat King. The treasures in the Bat King's cave were already shocking enough. Presumably, the treasures in the ancient demon ox cave would be even more abundant. Thinking of this, everyone's hearts burned with passion. They rubbed their fists and prepared to fight. Seeing that they had roused everyone's emotions, Jiu Demonic Flame and Yu Qingqing nodded and led everyone to attack the ancient demonic bull once again. Clang! The ancient demonic bull swung its gigantic axe in all directions, causing the ground to tremble. That huge bronze battle axe seemed to weigh tens of thousands of kilograms. It was engraved with strange patterns and looked extremely mysterious. The ancient demonic bull was immensely powerful. It carried the bronze axe and swept it in all directions. An invisible pressure filled the entire space. Everyone collapsed and retreated. Many of the weaker martial artists were sent flying while vomiting blood. This scene was very shocking. Almost 40 spirit-detecting realm martial artists had surrounded an ancient demon beast, but more than half of them had been sent flying in the first move. Lin Xian blended into the crowd and only made a few symbolic attacks. He didn't go all out. He wanted to wait for a suitable opportunity. However, Jiu Demonic Flame and Yu Qingqing clearly didn't want to wait any longer. The two of them quickly attacked. An azure gold luster appeared on Yu Qingqing's palm. Rays of light were like tens of thousands of golden threads that hung down into the sky. Then, a terrifying gigantic hand that was comparable to a mountain enveloped the ancient demonic bull. The star-plucking hand was the ultimate technique of the moon-embracing pavilion. Many people exclaimed, their eyes filled with shock. The fatally beautiful fairy was determined to obtain the essence of the earth, so she took out her ultimate technique right from the start. The star-plucking hand was an earth-grade martial technique that was extremely terrifying. Legend had it that one could pluck real stars if they cultivated it to greater mastery. Although Yu Qingqing didn't have that kind of strength, its power was still very terrifying. The void was like a wave, trembling continuously from the azure gold palm as if it would split open at any time. The gigantic, ancient, demonic bull's body trembled as it was forced back by this move. It roared furiously, forming a visible sound wave that enveloped the front like a wave. With a furious roar, all directions were shattered. All the martial artists felt their chi and blood churning, and their spirit power couldn't circulate smoothly. Those who were at the early stage of the spirit detecting realm felt their eardrums tremble, and blood flowed profusely. Lin Xian's body swayed as he pulled Zhao Ziki back to block the sound wave. He was extremely shocked. If he hadn't consumed the golden spirit mushroom and strengthened the golden thunder body, this sound wave would have split his body apart. As expected of an ancient demonic beast, it was indeed terrifying. Even Yu Qingqing had no choice but to dodge. However, she soon attacked again with a terrifying attack. Her purple robes fluttered as if a fairy had descended. At this moment, she formed a seal with her right hand, forming a green moon that blasted downward. On the other side, the dove demonic flame also moved. Purple flames spread around his body, forming a purple sea. The terrifying heat was extremely turbulent, burning the void until it was distorted. With a wave of his hand, rays of purple light shot out, interweaving into a flaming divine bird that pounced upward. The ancient demonic bull roared furiously as demonic aura surged from its body, forming a demonic fog that shrouded the surroundings. At the same time, it waved its gigantic battle axe rapidly. Ray after ray of axe light split space and time like buckets, rushing in all directions. Fortunately, the ancient palace was abnormally hard and could withstand such a terrifying attack. Otherwise, the entire ground would have sunken long ago. Even so, everyone couldn't withstand it and retreated one after another. Originally, they wanted to lure the ancient demonic bull away, but now it seemed impossible. However, the people of the Moon Embracing Pavilion and the Divine Bird Palace were not idle. They quickly formed a set of arrays and attacked the ancient demonic bull with everyone's strength. Various rays of light danced in the air with terrifying momentum. The entire space was chaotic as everyone fell into a frenzied battle. Zhao Ziki followed Lin Xian closely and didn't dare to move. This kind of scene was not something a martial artist of the spirit transformation realm like her could resist. Fortunately, Lin Xian didn't go too deep. He quietly released the little white monkey and let it hide in the dark to quietly attack. After doing this, he followed everyone as if nothing had happened. The entire scene was extremely chaotic, and so far no one had been able to break through to the back of the ancient demonic bull. Therefore, no one paid too much attention to the essence of the earth. After all, this kind of battle was extremely dangerous. If they were not careful, they would lose their lives on the spot. The little white monkey hid in the dark and quickly used the treasure bowl. Soon, it got all the essence of the earth. However, it didn't return immediately. Instead, it ran away according to Lin Xian's request. In the next moment, the ancient demonic bull noticed something unusual and suddenly became furious. Its huge eyes suddenly turned scarlet, and the demonic aura around it surged as if it was going to devour everything. It looked up to the sky and roared. The demonic aura on its body surged and burned fiercely like a flame. A tyrannical force swept out in all directions. Boom! At this moment, everyone was sent flying by this force, including Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan. What's going on? Why did the demonic bull suddenly go crazy? It's too terrifying. Let's retreat. Everyone was terrified. Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan's hearts skipped a beat. They both looked behind the ancient demonic bull at the same time. Chapter 517. This is bad. The earth essence behind the ancient demon bull had disappeared. Not even a single piece was left. How is this possible? Everyone was shocked. Yu Qingqing and Jiu Demonic Flame also couldn't believe it. The two of them were late-stage spirit-detecting realm experts and could be considered peak existences in the lost place. However, the two of them didn't know how the earth essence disappeared. Although they hadn't been paying attention, it was still impossible for someone to pass by them. "This is bad. I'm afraid we've worked for someone else." Demonic Flame's expression was very ugly. During the battle just now, the ancient demon bull had become a bit irritable. Originally, they thought it was because of the frequent attacks, but now it seemed that the ancient demon bull had already noticed something. It was just being held back by them and couldn't split itself. But who was it that was able to steal the earth essence from us? Yu Qingqing's expression was cold. She didn't believe that someone could be so powerful. Although the two of them were confused and angry, they didn't delay because the ancient demon bull had already gone completely berserk. Waves of terrifying demonic qi filled the sky and forced everyone back. At this moment, the space became extremely chaotic. No one could stop the ancient demon bull's rampage. The ancient demon bull's rampage caused the entire area to fall into panic. However, it seemed to be concerned about the cave behind it and didn't chase after them. It just crazily destroyed the surroundings. The people from the Divine Bird Palace and the Moon Reaching Pavilion retreated to a safe area with fearful expressions. The battle just now had caused many people to be injured. Even Yu Qingqing and Demonic Flame had consumed a lot of energy. However, their efforts had all gone to someone else's benefit. Damn it, who is it? If I find out who did it, I won't let them off. Demonic Flame's expression was ferocious as the purple flames on his body jumped. He was indeed angry. As the third-ranked genius of the Divine Bird Palace, no one had ever dared to play with him, let alone steal his treasures. But now, the earth essence he had his eyes on had disappeared right under his nose. The most infuriating thing was that he didn't even know who had stolen it. Yu Qingqing was also depressed. She had originally wanted to use the earth essence to strengthen her body and improve her cultivation. However, after fighting for so long, she hadn't even seen a speck of it. The others were also shocked and began to discuss. Zhao Ziki looked at Lin Xian, and her heart was in turmoil. She didn't need to think to know that it was this guy's doing. She was becoming more and more curious about Lin Xian's identity. Just what kind of person was able to quietly snatch a heavenly treasure from the hands of two 6-star sects? Lin Xian's face was expressionless, but his heart was bursting with joy. The essence of the earth was enough for him to complete a transformation. Moreover, throughout the entire process, he did not expend a single bit of energy. He had effortlessly put away this heavenly treasure that would make anyone's eyes red with envy. Moreover, no one had noticed. This feeling was simply too great. Yu Qingqing scanned the crowd. When she saw Lin Xian, she was stunned for a moment. She frowned slightly. Seeing Lin Xian's neat clothes, she felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't put her finger on it. Feeling Yu Qingqing's gaze, Lin Xian was on high alert, but he still appeared very calm. At this time, another shocking aura came from the depths of the palace. That aura was like a flood, like a vast ocean, rolling over, making one's heart tremble. So terrifying. What kind of aura is that? Everyone was shocked and stood up one after another. Yu Qingqing and Demonic Flame also looked solemn as they looked into the distance. Lin Xian was even more shocked. He felt that a sword intent was awakening. Let's go and take a look. Many people moved, and Lin Xian followed behind. Now that he had obtained the treasure, he did not want to mingle with the crowd. In front of them, the aura became stronger and stronger, as if it was going to envelop the entire palace. At the same time, a shocking sword intent rushed up to fight against the monstrous aura. Yi Linyan. Feeling the sword intent, Yu Qingqing and Demonic Flame's expressions changed at the same time. Then, the two of them turned into flowing light and quickly left. The others were also shocked and sped up. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lin Xian and Zhao Ziki quietly left the group. No one noticed this process. Wuji Lin Xian brought Zhao Ziki to a corner. A snow-white monkey jumped out with a small, worn-out bowl on its head. Inside the bowl was the sparkling and translucent earth essence. Lin Xian was overjoyed and gave some to the snow-white monkey. Then he put away the majority of the earth essence. Zhao Ziki was shocked, although she had long guessed it. Seeing Lin Xian obtain all the earth essence with her own eyes was still very shocking. Now was not a good time to consume it, so Lin Xian decided to consume it after leaving the palace. Then he and Zhao Ziki took action. The two of them changed their appearance and aura again. This time, they did not deliberately disguise as anyone. Lin Xian's appearance was somewhat cold this time. His sharp face was full of determination. Taking a deep breath, the two of them ran toward the aura fluctuation. This aura was too strong, attracting the attention of all the martial artists in the entire palace. For a time, all the martial artists who came in all ran in that direction. Lin Xian brought Zhao Ziki and quickly arrived at the source of the aura. Many martial artists gathered ahead. Among them, Yu Qingcheng, Ju Demonic Flame, and the rest were all there. At the forefront, there was a white figure. He was dressed in white and carried an ancient sword on his back. It was deity Sword Villa's Yi Linyan. At this moment, he was completely different from his previous calm and indifferent self. He was like a peerless divine sword, extremely sharp. A terrifying sword essence permeated the air, causing his surroundings to become extremely dangerous. Everywhere was filled with sword essence. Great success, sword essence! Lin Xian exclaimed. He saw a great success, sword essence again. Moreover, this sword essence was far more skillful than Zhou Jianying's. It must have been in the great success realm for a long time. In front of them, there was an exquisite pagoda. It was emitting light like an immortal treasure. Rays of light hung down. They were crystal clear and made it look extremely mysterious. Everyone was excited. Everyone knew that there must be an incredible treasure inside. However, no one dared to go forward because Yi Linyan was in front. However, Yi Linyan had no intention of attacking. He just stood there cautiously. Finally, someone could not hold back anymore. A thin and tall youth ran out. He turned into a bolt of lightning and flashed past quickly. However, when he was about 10 feet away from the sharp pagoda, there was a fluctuation at the entrance. It was like a sword wave that rushed over fiercely. Puff! That person was hit and retreated while vomiting blood. As expected, it was not so easy to enter. Of course, there were also people who did not believe it. They tried one after another, but they were all injured and flew back. Yu Qingqing frowned. She looked at the scene in front of her, and the doubt in her heart grew. Suddenly, her heart trembled. She finally understood. She knew what she had overlooked. Oh no, we've been tricked. Yu Qingqing suddenly turned her head. Her gaze was like lightning as she scanned the back. This gaze carried the pressure of a late-stage spirit detecting realm cultivator, causing many people to tremble. Senior Sister Yu, what's wrong? The disciples of the Moon Embracing Pavilion were puzzled. They did not know what could make Senior Sister Yu so angry. Chapter 518. The disciples of the Moon Pavilion were terrified. They didn't know what could make Yu Qingqing so shocked. Yu Qingqing's eyes were like lightning as she scanned the surroundings with a terrifying pressure. Then, she frowned even more because she couldn't find the person she was looking for. Senior Sister Yu, who are you looking for? A disciple asked. Where are the 2 martial artists from the Golden Light sect? Did any of you see them? Hearing this, the surrounding disciples were stunned. They looked around and found that the 2 disciples from the Golden Light sect were indeed gone. I don't know. Maybe there's something else. Everyone guessed that not everyone was willing to come to such a dangerous place. Send someone to find those 2. We must find them. Senior sister, what's wrong? Why are you looking for those two? The disciples of the Moon Pavilion were even more confused. I suspect that those two are related to the disappearance of the Earth essence. What? That's impossible. Everyone was shocked. Those two are only in the spirit transformation realm. How could they steal the Earth essence? Spirit transformation realm. Yu Qingqing's voice was cold. Did you notice anything different about them? Different. Many people were silent and tried to recall, but they couldn't remember what was different. I observed them before, especially that man. His clothes were too neat. Neat? You still don't understand? In the battle with the ancient demonic bull, which one of you wasn't injured? Which one of you wasn't injured? Yet, the two spirit transformation realm martial artists were completely unharmed. Even their clothes weren't damaged. Isn't that obvious? Hearing this, everyone was shocked and suddenly realized something. That's right. Even people as strong as them were injured by the sound waves and demonic aura. However, the two spirit transformation realm martial artists were completely unharmed. What did this mean? The two of them must have hidden their strength. Thinking of this, everyone felt a lingering fear. There were such hidden, peerless experts beside them. The Golden Light sect is so bold to arrange such experts beside us. Do you think it's the Golden Light sect? With their methods, they definitely aren't from the Golden Light sect. The two of them might have left the palace by now. Then what should we do? Send some people to search. The others stay here and wait for the opportunity. Yu Qingqing sighed. She did not have high hopes of finding those two. After all, no matter who obtained a heaven-defying treasure like the quintessence of the earth, they would definitely hide and attempt to break through. Lin Xian stood in the crowd and laughed in his heart. It was a little too late for these people to react now. However, the fact that the woman was able to tell whether he was faking it or not from the neatness of his clothes was beyond his expectations. However, Yu Qingqing's final judgment was wrong. Lin Xian did not leave. Instead, he returned to their side. This time, Lin Xian wasn't with Zhao Ziki but acted alone. Because this time, there would probably be a big battle. If he brought Zhao Ziki with him, it would definitely be very troublesome. Moreover, he wasn't worried about Zhao Ziki betraying him, because as long as he willed it, he could trigger the black dragon flames. Currently, there was no one in the Lost Lands who could dispel the black dragon flames. In front of him, the Linglong Pagoda shone brightly, sending down thousands of rays of multicolored light. Bang! 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 Suddenly, waves of fluctuations came from the exquisite pagoda. It was like the sound of a war drum with a strange rhythm. The fluctuations were small at first, but it quickly spread and became bigger. Finally, the entire space trembled with the rhythm. Everyone's hearts trembled and their faces turned pale. They felt that the rhythm seemed to have a magical power. It was as if a pair of big feet were stepping on their hearts, causing their hearts to beat with the rhythm. Puff! Some of the weaker ones were sent flying while vomiting blood. The surrounding martial artists retreated in fear. Only a small portion of them could withstand it. Most of them were from 6-star sects, but there were also a few top-notch martial artists from 5-star sections. They resisted the strange rhythm with all their might. Among them, Yi Linyun stood at the front. He activated his greater success sword essence, and a terrifying sword chi swept out in all directions. When the sword essence appeared, the clouds in all directions moved. The sharp sword chi cut everything in front of it apart. Then he held his long sword and walked toward the exquisite pagoda. Yu Qingqing and Geodemonic Flame were not willing to fall behind. The moon behind Yu Qingqing was hazy. She stood in the sky and emitted rays of light. The hazy moonlight blocked the mysterious rhythm outside her body. Purple flames danced around Geodemonic Flame like a sea of purple flames that burned everything. The three of them slowly walked toward the exquisite pagoda. Other than them, the others also used their own methods to move forward. Among them, a cold-looking man was the strongest. He walked as if he was taking a stroll, and quickly walked toward the exquisite pagoda. His speed was even faster than Yi Linyun's group. Who is that person? He's so terrifying that he can resist that terrifying rhythm? I've never seen him before. But why do I feel that he's more relaxed than Yi Linyun's group? No way! When did such a peerless expert appear in the Lost Lands? Yu Qingqing looked back at the cold-looking young man and frowned. She shouted, "Stop him!" Ever since she suffered a loss, she was extremely sensitive to unfamiliar experts. Now was a special time, so she decisively gave the order to attack. "Go back!" A moon-embracing pagoda disciple attacked. That person's cultivation was at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm and could be said to be very powerful. The cold-looking young man was naturally Lin Xian. When he saw the moon-embracing pagoda disciple attack, a cold smile appeared on his face. He punched out, and the terrifying force caused the surrounding air to condense again. Boom! The moon-embracing pagoda disciples' bright moon palm shattered and turned into specks of light. Then his body was also sent flying by the violent force. What? He was sent flying with one punch? Everyone was shocked, and their jaws dropped. That's a martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm, but he was defeated with one punch. Is that man a martial artist at the late stage of the spirit detecting realm? Thinking of this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Lin Xian was very satisfied that he had shocked everyone with one punch. However, he knew that under normal circumstances he would not be able to send his opponent flying with one punch. But now it was different. The terrifying fluctuations from the exquisite pagoda had a strong suppressive effect on martial artists. That martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm could only use half of his strength. But he was different. He had the devouring sword and could absorb the terrifying fluctuations around him. His strength was not affected at all, so he could send his opponent flying with one punch. Those people did not know this, so they were shocked when they saw the scene. "You guys go too," Jiu Demonic Flame also said. He did not want to have another competitor. Suddenly, 2 disciples of the Divine Bird Palace walked out, their bodies filled with killing intent. One of them shot out purple flames. The purple flames in the sky condensed into a flaming divine bird that was dozens of feet long and circled around him. The other person was surrounded by lightning. The lightning in the sky condensed into a ferocious thunder beast, its pressure overwhelming. Chapter 519. The 2 huge beasts were dozens of feet tall, completely condensed from spiritual power. They exuded a terrifying aura, like real ancient monsters. "Die, kid!" The 2 of them grinned and rushed over quickly. The purple flame divine bird shook and formed a huge claw. It quickly attacked and grabbed Lin Xian. In an instant, the void was crushed. Purple flames jumped and burned in all directions. Beside him, the huge lightning ferocious beast roared ferociously as it charged over with an endless sea of lightning. The 2 of them joined forces, creating a terrifying scene. Lin Xian snorted. His aura rose quickly. His whole person became extremely fierce, exuding a terrifying aura. Streaks of golden lightning circled around his body. Countless golden lightning halos trembled, making him look like the god of thunder. With one step, the whole space trembled. His hands danced, and thunder halos danced in the sky, forming thunder and lightning blades that pierced through the void. The terrifying thunder and lightning roared and shattered the surroundings. The golden thunder and lightning were extremely violent, far surpassing the thunder and lightning of the disciples of the Divine Bird Palace. In an instant, the thunder beast formed by the thunder sea trembled and stopped roaring. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. The disciples of the divine bird palace were even more shocked. The thunder and lightning they used came from the three-headed, crimson blood bird. The thunder and lightning passed down was extremely violent. It was not something that ordinary thunder and lightning could resist. However, the golden thunder and lightning released by the cold-looking man in front of them was too strange. It was able to suppress their thunder and lightning attribute. This had never happened before. Who is that person? Why does he have such a terrifying thunder and lightning power? I don't know. This person must be captured. Otherwise, he will be a great enemy of the divine bird palace. The thunder beast formed by the thunder sea was stunned, but the divine bird formed by purple flames still rushed over. It stretched out its claws and tore through the void. In an instant, it arrived in front of Lin Xian. Humph, destroy! Lin Xian sneered. He waved his arms. Golden thunder and lightning jumped and intertwined to form a golden thunder blade, exuding a violent aura. With one strike, the whole space seemed to be split open. Endless waves of air surged. The purple divine bird was the first to bear the brunt. Its claws were shattered under the golden thunder blade, and then its whole body was split in half. The purple flames were scattered all over the ground, and the violent energy shockwaves were still raging in the air. Lin Xian withdrew his attack and stood with his hands clasped behind his back, looking around disdainfully. The surroundings were silent. Everyone looked ahead in fear, not daring to speak. It was too powerful. The disciples of Divine Bird Palace made a strong move, but the other side countered it with an even stronger method, which shocked everyone. Those sharp eyes, the violent lightning, and the imposing manner of looking down on everything were deeply imprinted in everyone's hearts. This person was definitely a terrifying existence. Perhaps only Yi Linian and the others could defeat him. After defeating the two disciples of the Divine Bird Palace, Lin Xian once again walked towards the Linglong Pavilion. Jiu Demonic Flame's expression was gloomy. He stared coldly at Lin Xian, wanting to pierce through him. "Boy, how dare you hurt a disciple of my Divine Bird Palace? No one in the world can save you." His voice was filled with killing intent as purple flames danced around his body. "You are the ones who provoked me first. If I didn't retaliate, would I have been forced to take a beating? Are you crazy?" Lin Xian sneered. "Could it be that only your Divine Bird Palace is allowed to attack, and I am not allowed to fight back? You're courting death. How dare you speak to Senior Brother Jiu like that? Kowtow and apologize, or no one can save you." The disciples of the Divine Bird Palace angrily shouted, "Boy, no matter what you say, you must die today. No one can reward a disciple of my Divine Bird Palace." The purple flames on Jiu Demonic Flame's body were monstrous, like a demon god. "Is that so?" Lin Xian sneered. "It seems like you're really used to being arrogant. Don't think that everyone in the world will let you go. Boy, you're too arrogant. Die for me." Jiu Demonic Flame's body released a dazzling light that burned like a divine flame. He stretched out his hand, and the purple flames danced, forming a giant claw that covered the sky. Jiu Demonic Flame was worthy of being a late-stage, spirit-detecting realm martial artist. His strength was extremely powerful, and even though his cultivation was suppressed by the Linglong Pavilion, his violent power was not something a mid-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artist could compare to. In an instant, the purple flames clawed at Lin Xian, and the flames danced as if they wanted to burn him to ashes. "Ha! I thought it was someone powerful, but it turns out it's only SOSO. That's right. Obediently let yourself be burned to ashes." The disciples of the Divine Bird Palace sneered. Lin Xian's expression was indifferent. The golden lightning patterns on his body flashed, forming a ring of lightning that constantly vibrated and pushed back the purple demonic claw. Then Lin Xian punched out, directly hitting the purple demonic claw and sending it flying. The power of this punch was terrifying, and it caused the entire space to tremble. The shock wave of energy swept out in all directions, causing everyone to retreat in shock. What? He got rid of it. This is impossible. The disciples of the divine bird palace screamed like crazy. He can actually compete with Demonic Flame? Everyone was stunned. Demonic Flame's face was gloomy. In order to resist the fluctuations of the Linglong Pavilion, he could only use half of his strength. Even so, a mid-stage spirit detecting realm martial artist would not be able to resist. However, the other party had blocked it. Who is this person? He doesn't seem to be affected. Demonic Flame was shocked. Lin Xian was also shocked. The power of a late-stage spirit detecting realm martial artist was beyond his imagination. Fortunately, he was not affected and could use his full strength, which was why he could compete with Demonic Flame. However, this was already his limit. He could not compete with a late-stage spirit detecting realm martial artist. After all, he was only at the late stage of the spirit transformation realm, which was several realms lower than a late-stage spirit detecting realm martial artist. If this news were to spread, it would definitely shock everyone. After all, even in the Tianwu domain, there was no such powerful spirit transformation realm martial artist. After his attack failed, Demonic Flame's face turned gloomy. He coldly snorted and attacked again. Purple flames danced in the sky, forming a purple divine spear that emitted a shocking, killing intent. Immortal Spear! Demonic Flame waved his purple divine spear with all his strength, leaving behind afterimages as it flew through the void. Wherever it passed, the air in the sky exploded. The immortal spear was too terrifying. Not only was its killing intent shocking, but it also contained a trace of immortality. This was not something Lin Xian could resist with his physical body. At this critical moment, he did not hold back. The dragon's sword intent in his body rushed out, and a bright sword light flashed through the void and fiercely slashed down. The 80% dragon sword intent was extremely terrifying. Its power had already surpassed that of a large success sword intent. This sword made the heavens and earth lose their color. The sword light crisscrossed and slashed down on the immortal spear. There was a clang, and then the energy ball exploded. The dragon's sword intense attack power was unparalleled. Even though the immortal spear contained a trace of immortality, it could not destroy the dragon's sword intent. Demonic Flame's face darkened when he saw that his immortal spear had been blocked. "Who are you?" he asked sternly. That sword intent was so powerful that it shocked him. Chapter 5:20. Although it couldn't compare to Yi Linyun's greater success sword intent, it wasn't far off. Yi Linyun and Yu Qingqing were also shocked, especially Yi Linyun, who stared at Lin Xian. His greater success sword intent surged as if it was going to tear the void apart. The two sword intents clashed, and the void trembled as if it was going to split open. Lin Xian's dragon sword intent represented an offensive saint spell, and it was extremely powerful. On the other side, Yi Linyun's greater success sword intent was no ordinary sword intent, and it was even more terrifying with the support of a late-stage spirit detecting realm cultivator. The two sword intents clashed, and the void seemed to be torn apart. Everyone retreated in panic. Seeing that the situation was about to get out of control, the terrifying fluctuation in the pavilion of delicacy became even more powerful. At the same time, a blood-red sword qi rushed into the sky, and then an aura even more powerful than the greater success sword intent rushed out. It circled in the void and forced the two sword intents back. What kind of sword intent is this? It's so domineering. Lin Xian and Yi Linyun were shocked and quickly retreated. An even more terrifying sword intent rushed out of the pavilion of delicacy and knocked Lin Xian and Yi Linyun away. Then, The light at the entrance became even more dazzling, and a strange fragrance wafted out. Everyone's hearts were burning as they stared at the entrance, but no one dared to move. They were waiting for the blood-red sword aura to disappear. The blood-red sword aura in the sky was extremely unstable, and it only appeared for a moment before disappearing. At this moment, everyone moved. Yi Linyan turned into a sword aura and rushed toward the entrance. Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan also used their extreme speed. Lin Xian roared and turned into a bolt of lightning, rushing forward quickly. He wasn't affected by the Pavilion of Delicacy, so he was even faster. In an instant, he surpassed Jiu Moyan and Yu Qingqing. This time he attacked first. He unsheathed the wind shadow sword, and a terrifying sword qi slashed toward the two. Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan were shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to attack them at this time. This was a naked provocation. "Brat, you're courting death." Jiu Moyan reached out his hand and formed a terrifying demonic claw, leaving countless afterimages in the air. Yu Qingqing formed the bright moon seal and blasted out in all directions. Bright moons rose one after another, staring at the void. Endless light scattered down, carrying with it a terrifying killing intent. A great battle was on the verge of breaking out, and a heavy pressure enveloped the surroundings. Lin Xian used the illusory demonic steps and dodged with extreme speed like a ghost. Every time his sword struck a weak spot, Jiu Moyan and Yu Qingqing were furious. They thought that Lin Xian was going to fight them to the death, but they did not expect that Lin Xian was so fast that he did not even try to fight them. He was just moving around. Every time they tried to run towards the entrance of the light, Lin Xian's sword light would restrain them. And when they tried to fight Lin Xian would use his speed advantage to pull away. This prevented them from unleashing their full strength. Not only that, the closer they got to the door of light, the stronger the vibration became. They had no choice but to use most of their power to resist. Very quickly, they were shaken off by Lin Xian. After getting rid of Jiu Moyan and Yu Qingqing, Lin Xian waved his long sword again and attacked Yi Linyan. The void trembled, and the great success sword intent roared. Yi Linyan suddenly turned around and slashed out a terrifying sword qi. The two swords clashed and the void shattered. Countless sword blades split open and slashed in all directions. Those warriors who wanted to attack immediately retreated in shock, and those who were too slow were instantly blown away by the sword qi. Lin Xian waved the wind shadow sword in his hand. It was as if a divine sword had slashed through the void, bursting out a bright sword qi. On the other side, Yi Linyan's long sword danced quickly, forming a sword diagram in the air and pressing down from the sky. That sword diagram was extremely terrifying, and it instantly covered all directions. Lin Xian's pupils shrank, and he felt a chill down his spine. Then he quickly retreated and turned into a beam of light. In the next moment, the void where he was standing before quickly cracked open. Countless sword qi pierced out and shattered the space. Lin Xian was shocked. That sword diagram was too mysterious, and it seemed to contain endless power. However, his great dragon sword intent was not for show. The wind shadow sword gently moved in the air. The movement was very slow, as if it was drawing something. Then a deep dragon roar was heard. Then a green dragon rushed out from the sword and quickly grew in size. Sword Qi Dragon. The green dragon, which was dozens of feet long, was ferocious and terrifying. It filled the entire sky and rushed toward the mysterious sword diagram. The two clashed and terrifying energy surged. The void was in chaos. Yi Linyan's eyes shone with a shocking light. He did not expect Lin Xian to have such a mysterious sword technique. That green dragon was far more powerful than an ordinary transformation. It was as if it really existed and had magical power. Apart from his senior brother, This was the first time he had met a sword opponent. With a long roar, Yi Linyun's black hair fluttered and his white robe danced. He looked like a sword god. Behind him, sword qi intertwined, forming an even larger sword diagram that emitted mysterious energy. Lin Xian also attacked. A green dragon sword qi appeared under his feet, and he roared into the sky. While the two were fighting, Geodemonic Flame and Yu Qingqing also rushed over. The four demons faced off against each other, exchanging blows as they quickly rushed towards the light gate. To them, it was very important to seize the opportunity. Whoever could enter the light door first might be able to obtain what was inside. Yu Qingqing's purple robe fluttered, and she was like a fairy descending. A bright moon rose behind her, shaking the void. The moonlight shone down, forming a bridge that extended from under her feet toward the dazzling pavilion. However, when the hazy moonlight approached the dazzling pavilion, it was repelled by an invisible force. Yi Linyun's sword qi was shocking. The sword diagram behind him was hazy and terrifying. He used the long sword in his hand to open the path. Dazzling sword qi slashed forward as he advanced step by step. On the other side, Geodemonic Flame also used his ultimate technique. Purple flames danced on his body, and his entire body was enveloped by purple flames. He was like a fire god. The sea of flames spread, attacking and blocking the other three at the same time. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered. He stood on a green dragon and held a long sword in his hand. He looked around disdainfully. He was like a sword god descending. He moved quickly. When the four of them approached, they attacked each other. The terrifying power shook the void as if it was going to tear it apart. Everyone was shocked. They knew Yi Linyun and the other two. They were the peerless geniuses of the top 6-star sections. They were extremely powerful, and even the older generation could not compete with them. However, Lin Xian was actually able to compete with the three prodigies. This was indeed beyond everyone's expectations. What shocked them even more was that Lin Xian's cultivation was not strong. It seemed that he had not reached the spirit-detecting realm. If that was really the case, then it was too terrifying. Who are you? Yu Qingqing frowned slightly. She did not believe that anyone could compete with them, even if their cultivation was suppressed. Could it be that you're the foreign visitor? What? In an instant, everyone was shocked. Geodemonic Flame was even more shocked and angry. He held the inextinguishable flame in his hand and stared coldly at Lin Xian. He had long suspected that if it was someone from the three factions, he would have known about such a mysterious expert. Outsider? To me, you are the outsider. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Chapter 521. He did not intend to admit it. If he revealed his identity now, the people of the Divine Bird Palace would definitely go crazy. By then, he would probably be besieged by everyone. If that happened, it would be really dangerous. He could only fight against the three of them because of the uniqueness of the Pavilion of Delicacy. Once he was surrounded or left the Pavilion of Delicacy, he would lose his advantage. Therefore, he did not admit it. Instead, he said something inexplicable. He wanted to mislead everyone and lead them to the natives of the Lost Lands. Sure enough, those people were shocked. Are you a native of the Lost Lands? The more they thought about it, the more shocked they were. No wonder he was not restricted by the Pavilion of Delicacy, and his combat power was so terrifying. Yi Linyun also frowned. Rumor has it that the natives of the Lost Lands are descendants of God. Now that I've seen it, they are indeed extraordinary. Descendants of God. Everyone was even more shocked. They had never heard of such a secret. Even Lin Xian was shocked. He did not expect the natives of the Lost Lands to have such a powerful background. They were even called descendants of God. Lin Xian and Yi Linyun were fighting in a chaotic battle. Their terrifying strength shocked everyone. The pavilion of delicacy shook and emitted rays of light. Rays of light hung down one after another, forming a terrifying scene. Lin Xian and the others were approaching at a fast speed. However, when they were about 10 feet away, they all froze. The surrounding space was distorted and became extremely heavy. Everyone was terrified. They struggled with all their might. It felt as if they had fallen into a quagmire. They were getting slower and slower. "Open!" Yi Linyin shouted angrily. The long sword in his hand slashed out a terrifying sword light. However, it did not have much effect. Yu Qingchen, Jiu Moyan, and the others also tried, but they did not succeed. The closer they got to the pavilion of delicacy, the slower they were. Lin Xian used the golden thunder body to resist this force. At the same time, he used his sword will to open a path. The four of them moved forward slowly. Finally, they were about 5 feet away. Lin Xian stepped forward again. However, in the next moment, the pavilion of delicacy flashed with sword light. Suddenly, countless blood-red sword light slashed out. One of them went straight for Lin Xian. The sword light was exquisite, as if it was going to tear the void apart. Its power had already surpassed Yi Linyin and the others. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He no longer cared about hiding and quickly used the concept of wind. Combined with the illusory demon steps, he dodged with extreme speed. Whoa! The blood-colored sword chi was extremely terrifying as it tore through the void. In the end, he was still struck by the sword light. In an instant, he felt his blood and chi churn, as if his body was about to split apart. At the same time, there was also an extremely heavy blood aura attacking his body. He immediately activated the Sword of Devouring and quickly devoured the sword light. However, Gen Qi was simply too terrifying. Even though he had used Devour, he was still injured. In the next moment, he was knocked back, and the aura that he had disguised was also broken. In other words, the blood-red sword Qi had returned Lin Xian to his original state. What? Everyone was shocked to see the drastic change in Lin Xian's appearance and aura. The disciples of Divine Bird Palace were even more shocked and angry because they felt a familiar aura from Lin Xian. "You're that mysterious swordsman. You're courting death. How dare you come here after killing several disciples of Divine Bird Palace? Looks like you're tired of living. Stay here obediently." Jiu Demonic Flame's expression was ferocious. The disciples of Divine Bird Palace all drew their swords and sabers. Yu Qingqing's pretty face was cold. The bright moon behind her rose and fell, shining in all directions. Lin Xian had not only killed disciples of Divine Bird Palace, but also those of Moon Pavilion. Moreover, she suspected that the disappearance of the essence of the earth had something to do with Lin Xian. There was no way he would let Lin Xian leave. For a time, Yu Qingqing and Jiu Demonic Flame temporarily gave up on Linglong Pavilion. Anyway, they could not break through for the time being, so they might as well capture Lin Xian. Moreover, Lin Xian had a great secret on him. He might even have a heaven-defying treasure, like the essence of the earth. Anyone would be tempted. In the crowd, Zhao Ziki was horrified. She did not expect Lin Xian to reveal his identity at this time. She panicked and did not know what to do. Lin Xian was also depressed. He did not expect the blood-red weather to be so terrifying that it could even break his disguise. If it wasn't for the fact that he was still devouring, that sword would have seriously injured him. Damn it, if I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have taken that step. Lin Xian was the first person to step within 15 meters, so he received the fiercest attack from the blood-red sword energy. The Linglong Pavilion was indeed very mysterious, and it was not easy to get close. However, this was not what Lin Xian needed to think about. The only thing he needed to think about was how to escape. He was surrounded by the people of the 2 6-star sections, and he was being attacked by Jiu Demonic Flame and Yu Qingqing, 2 late-stage spirit-detecting realm experts. With a serious expression, Lin Xian looked at Yi Linyan. If Yi Linyan also attacked, then he would be in even more danger. Fortunately, Yi Linyan had no intention of attacking. He was going all out against Ling Long Pavilion. Lin Xian secretly let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the situation had not reached a point where he had to die. However, Geodemonic Flame and Yu Qingcheng clearly did not think so. Even Yi Linyan would not be able to fight against the two of them, let alone Lin Xian, who was only at the spirit transformation realm. Brat, surrender obediently, and perhaps you'll suffer less, Geodemonic Flame said. Otherwise, I'll let you taste what it means to wish you were dead. On the side, Yu Qingcheng did not speak, but her gaze was locked onto Lin Xian. She did not want others to know that Lin Xian might have obtained the Earth Essence, but she did not want to let Lin Xian go either. Stop talking nonsense and use whatever means you have. Lin Xian's sword energy surged. Since you're looking for death, I'll fulfill your wish. Geodemonic Flame sneered and sent out the terrifying purple tear demonic hand. Rays of purple light flashed and formed two giant palms that quickly tore through the void. This was a unique skill of the Divine Bird Palace. It used the inextinguishable flames to form the palms and was extremely powerful. Crack, crack! The void shattered as if it was being torn apart. Rays of terrifying energy swept out and rushed toward Lin Xian. Yu Qingcheng waved her azurite hand, covering the sky and grabbing downward. She also used her unique skill, the star-picking hand. The two of them formed a fierce attack and did not give Lin Xian a chance to escape. Lin Xian used the wind concept and the illusory demonic steps to dodge quickly. The terrifying energy was vast and mighty, causing the entire space to tremble violently. The sky was like boiling water, constantly shaking. Fortunately, the three of them were within 100 feet of the Ling Long Pavilion, so their speed was abnormally slow, which gave Lin Xian a chance. Lin Xian used the wind concept to change the air around him and weaken the Ling Long Pavilion's influence to the greatest extent. He quickly dodged the two attacks and then stopped. He held his sword with both hands, and his aura became abnormally fierce. Gale Lightning Sword, Mountain River Break Sword. He also used his unique skill. A giant, heavenly sword flew across the sky, emitting a terrifying aura. Then, the giant heavenly sword in the sky ruthlessly fell with an aura that could destroy everything. The giant sword slashed across the sky, and a terrifying aura enveloped the two of them. Chapter 5:22. Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan's expressions were serious. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to dodge their attacks in this muddy gravitational field. What shocked them even more was that Lin Xian, a spirit transformation realm martial artist, had mastered such a terrifying martial art. It wasn't any weaker than their martial arts. Moreover, the two of them were affected by the gravitational field and weren't as fast as Lin Xian. However, the two of them were peak experts after all. They reacted in an instant. Yu Qingqing became one with the moon behind her. Like a fairy descending, her body emitted a bright light. She quickly retreated and disappeared from the spot like a ray of light. On the other side, Jiu Moyan's purple flames jumped and condensed into a pair of giant flame wings behind him. He flapped his wings and retreated as well. Seeing the two of them retreat, Lin Xian frowned and rushed forward with his sword. He had to end the battle quickly. Otherwise, once he left the gravitational field, he wouldn't be able to fight against two late-stage spirit detection realm martial artists. However, Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan were even more terrifying than he had imagined. In an instant, they broke through the limit of 10 feet and quickly attacked Lin Xian. Both of them wanted to take down Lin Xian, so they gave up on resisting the Twinkle Gem Pagoda. In an instant, Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan raised their power to the peak. A bright moon pressed down in all directions. Jiu Moyan's purple flame wings pushed his speed to the extreme as he rushed toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian dodged continuously and also ran into the distance. However, the two attacks in the sky were too powerful. They shook Lin Xian's blood and qi, and he was injured in the end. Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood and staggered. He stabilized his body and quickly ran away. "Little thief, stay here!" Jiu Moyan roared. He reached out a giant palm that covered the sky and shrouded the ground. Lin Xian used the black dragon flame to cover his fist and punched out. Boom! The black dragon flame and the eternal purple flame collided. A sea of fire soared in the sky, and the void shattered. A terrifying heat wave spread out in all directions. "What?" The demonic flame angrily shouted. At the same time, he was greatly shocked. His eternal purple flames were extremely fierce. Even some senior martial artists would find it difficult to contend with them. However, Lin Xian was actually able to resist his undying flame, and even suppress it. What is that black flame? It's so terrifying. He was horrified, and increasingly felt that people like Lin Xian could not be allowed to live. On the other side, Yu Qingqing seized the opportunity and quickly attacked. A bright moon slammed into Lin Xian's body and sent him flying. This attack directly knocked Lin Xian out of the range of the Ling Long Pavilion. Suddenly, the disciples of the Divine Bird Palace and the Moon Embracing Pavilion raised their swords and struck out with terrifying attacks. Lin Xian felt as if all the bones in his body were about to break. This attack had indeed caused him to suffer a great loss. If it wasn't for the fact that his golden lightning body was so strong, he would have been sliced apart by now. He knew that he could not stay any longer and had to leave. Otherwise, if he was surrounded by these people, it would be difficult for him to escape. It was still too difficult for him to face a late-stage, spirit-detecting realm martial artist. Thinking of this, he fully activated his spirit energy and sent out several rays of sword energy. The ordinary disciples of the Divine Bird Palace and the Moon Embracing Pavilion were immediately sent flying. However, there were also a few mid-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artists that firmly entangled Lin Xian, not allowing him to leave. In an instant, Yu Qingqing and Jiu Demonic Flame rushed over again. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He used the black dragon flame and formed a flame in front of him, dispersing everyone. Then, the wind shadow sword stabbed out, and a thunderfire annihilation quickly surged. Above the terrifying sword energy, the black dragon flame jumped, golden lightning surged, and the great dragon's sword intent supported it. The power of this sword was extremely powerful. Yu Qingqing and Jiu Demonic Flame resisted and were pinned down. They could only watch as Xian Ben was sent flying into the distance. "We can't let him escape. Chase!" The two shouted angrily. In an instant, countless martial artists rushed out and chased after Lin Xian. Jiu Demonic Flame and Yu Qingqing took the lead. Zhao Ziki was anxious. She didn't know why, but she was actually worried about Lin Xian's safety. She blended into the crowd and followed him. Lin Xian was hit by the bright moon and suffered serious internal injuries, which caused his speed to be somewhat slow. In addition, Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan's continuous attacks made him even more dangerous. At the critical moment, he burned a part of his spiritual power, turned into a ray of light, and disappeared at the end of the road. Split up and search. Once there's any news, report it immediately. Immediately, countless martial artists scattered in all directions, searching quickly. Lin Xian temporarily shook off the crowd and went to a corner of the palace to think about what to do next. Yu Qingqing, Jiu Moyan, and the others would not let him go so easily. They would definitely search the entire palace for him. If he continued to stay here, it was very likely that he would be besieged again. However, He was extremely unwilling to give up the things in the Linglong Pavilion. If he could break through to the spirit detecting realm, the situation would be different. Lin Xian clenched his fists. He had the essence of the earth on him. If he consumed it, it was only a matter of time before he broke through. However, there was no safe place for him to break through at the moment. Whoosh whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the air could be heard from afar as several auras rushed over. Obviously, someone was searching this place. Lin Xian frowned and got up to leave. At this moment, a voice appeared near him. "Follow me." "It's you." Lin Xian was stunned. He looked at Zhao Ziki with some surprise. Zhao Ziki sprinkled some powder around to eliminate the aura, and then quickly pulled Lin Xian away. "Why did you help me?" Lin Xian was surprised. Normally, if he was in danger, the happiest person would be Zhao Ziki. After all, she still had the black dragon seal in her body. However, Lin Xian did not expect that Zhao Ziki would help him escape. "Don't ask. I can't explain it clearly in a short time." Zhao Ziki pulled Lin Xian, her face slightly red. Although the two of them hid their auras, there were too many martial artists searching for Lin Xian. In the end, they were still discovered. After fighting and running, the two of them once again arrived near the ancient demon bull. "Humph, boy, be obedient and surrender." Jiao Moyin sneered with the disciples of Divine Bird Palace. Yu Qingqing blocked the road with the people of Embracing Moon Pavilion. The road ahead was gone, and behind them was the cave of the ancient demon bull. It could be said that Lin Xian was completely blocked. "Boy, tell me your secret, and I may leave you a whole corpse." Jiao Moyin sneered. "Hand over that thing, and I can consider letting you go." On the other side, Yu Qingqing's voice was cold. "What should I do?" Zhao Ziki grabbed Lin Xian with a face full of fear. Lin Xian's face was cold. He drew a pattern on Zhao Ziki's body and took back the black dragon flame in her body. "You are free. Leave quickly," Lin Xian said. He did not want to drag the girl who saved him down. Zhao Ziki was stunned. She had wanted to get rid of the black dragon flame in her body countless times. She did not expect it to be in this situation. Moreover, there was a strong sense of loss in her heart. "No, I want to stay here. Maybe I can help you," Zhao Ziki said. "It's better that you hold me hostage. Maybe you can make senior sister you not dare to make a move. You really want to stay here?" Lin Xian asked. Chapter 5:23. Zhao Ziki nodded. "All right, I'll bring you away." Lin Xian pulled Zhao Ziki and looked around coldly. "You're still far from being able to take yours truly's life. Wash your necks obediently and wait. When yours truly returns, it will be the day of your death." Lin Xian's cold voice reverberated in the air. A dark sword appeared behind him and expanded rapidly. A black hole surrounded Lin Xian and Yu Qingqing. Everyone was shocked by what they saw. Jiao Demonic Flame and Yu Qingqing's hearts skipped a beat as they quickly took action to stop Lin Xian. However, they were too late. The black hole completely swallowed Lin Xian and Yu Qingqing before disappearing. "Ah, damn it!" Jiao Demonic Flame roared in anger after his attack missed. Just a little bit more, and he would have been able to capture Lin Xian and obtain his secrets. However, Lin Xian still managed to escape. Yu Qingqing was shocked as well. She did not expect Lin Xian to have such a method of escaping. "Junior brothering, hurry and check the location of that thief." Jiao Demonic Flame turned around and said. Behind him, Wuji nodded and used his senses to check the surroundings. "How is it? Have you found him?" Jiao Demonic Flame asked anxiously. Wuji nodded and revealed a strange expression. "Where is that thief?" Jiao Demonic Flame asked anxiously. The others also stretched their necks. They also wanted to know where Lin Xian had run off to. Wuji stretched out his hand and pointed forward. If I'm not wrong, that person is right there. Everyone looked forward with a strange expression on their faces. Even Jiu Demonic Flame was stunned. Junior Brothering, are you sure? That's the cave of the ancient demon bull. In the dark cave, a black vortex appeared out of nowhere and expanded rapidly. Finally, two figures appeared. Where are we? Zhao Ziki grabbed Lin Xian's arm tightly as soon as she landed and looked around nervously. Don't just stand there. Quickly hide our presence. Lin Xian's face was pale and his voice was very weak. Zhao Ziki did not dare to delay. She then set up a formation to conceal their auras. Her actions were quick and almost instantaneous. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief when he sensed that their auras had disappeared. If I'm not mistaken, this is the cave of the ancient demon bull. What? Zhao Ziki almost cried out in surprise. Her beautiful eyes widened as she carefully observed her surroundings. He originally thought that Lin Xian would leave the palace, but he didn't expect to return to such a dangerous place. She then asked in confusion, "Why are we here?" Could it be because of that black vortex? Lin Xian smiled but didn't say anything. Humph. Zhao Ziki curled her lips and stopped asking. Then she hugged her knees and sat at the side. Lin Xian also sat down cross-legged. He quickly swallowed the spirit wine and circulated the cultivation technique to regulate his breathing. Not only did he suffer heavy internal injuries, but he had also used up almost all of his soul power to forcefully activate the devouring sword. Therefore, he had to recover as soon as possible. Half a day later, he opened his eyes and heaved a sigh of relief. I'm going to break through. Can you help me look after it? Lin Xian asked. Seeing that Zhao Ziki agreed, Lin Xian took out a piece of earth essence. For me? Zhao Ziki was stunned when she saw Lin Xian's actions. Lin Xian actually wanted to share such an important thing with her. Are you sure you asked for it in the morning self-study session? You can't regret it. Take it. You saved my life. This is what you deserve. Lin Xian stuffed a piece of earth essence into her hand and then took out another piece to consume. He wanted to strengthen his body as quickly as possible and break through. Lin Xian chose the deepest part of the ancient demon bull cave. Moreover, their auras had already disappeared. As long as the ancient demon bull didn't carefully investigate the cave, it wouldn't be able to find them. Just as Lin Xian began to absorb the earth essence, Geodemonic Flame and the others outside looked gloomy. Junior Martial Brothering, you said that the thief is in the cave. Geodemonic Flame was stunned. He didn't believe that Lin Xian would enter the ancient demon bull's cave. Wuji was also speechless. He tried to sense Lin Xian's aura again, but he couldn't sense it anymore. Their auras have disappeared, but their last stop is definitely in the cave. Geodemonic Flame's face was gloomy. Then his body flashed and he rushed toward the cave. However, before he even got close, a great void figure quickly rushed out, roaring angrily, shaking heaven and earth. The ancient demon bull held a bronze axe and rushed over, causing the ground to tremble. Geodemonic Flame had no choice but to retreat. When the ancient demon bull saw Geodemonic Flame and the others, its eyes turned red. Then it rushed toward them. Oh no, retreat! Everyone was frightened and retreated. They didn't dare to get close. Senior Martial Brother Joe, what should we do now? Leave a few disciples here. If you find that kid, send a signal immediately. The rest of you, follow me to the Ling Long Pavilion, Geodemonic Flame said angrily. Soon after, Yu Qingcheng made the same decision, and the two of them quickly left. Lin Xian held a piece of earth essence in his hand. Then he activated the longevity chant and began to absorb the energy inside. Streaks of white light surrounded its body, forming a white curtain of light. When Zhao Ziki saw this, she quickly controlled the array to cover all the aura and scene. Outsiders couldn't see what was going on inside, nor could they sense any aura. The white light screen surrounded Lin Xian, and then a stream of life essence flowed into his body. This was the purest form of life essence, without any impurities. When the energy entered his body, it quickly merged with his body and began to transform it. Time flew, and a day and night passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, the ancient demon bull came in once, which scared Zhao Ziki so much that she almost screamed. Fortunately, the demon bull didn't find anything and left quickly. The light outside Lin Xian's body dissipated and rushed into his body. Then he opened his eyes. He had completely absorbed that piece of earth essence. He could sense the changes in his body. His physique had been greatly improved, and his flesh, blood, and bones had all been improved. Every inch of his muscles contained powerful strength. Zhao Ziki looked over, and then she was shocked. This was because she saw a faint brilliance flowing on the surface of Lin Xian's body. It was very delicate, like the skin of a baby. She had only seen this situation on supremacies. She didn't expect Lin Xian's physique to meet this condition. Of course, this didn't mean that Lin Xian's body was strong enough to compete with supremacies. Instead, it meant that his life level was already on par with supremacies. A cultivator's cultivation was to continuously strengthen and break through, allowing the body to enter a higher level of life. Although Lin Xian was still in the spirit transformation realm, his life level had already broken through to the supremacies. In other words, from now to the supremacies, he didn't have any bottlenecks in each realm. As long as his cultivation level reached a certain level, he would be able to advance. One had to know that this was very terrifying. Chapter 5:24. Not every prodigy could reach the venerable realm. Many prodigies were stuck in this realm and couldn't break through. The venerable realm was a huge dividing line that blocked most cultivators from advancing. Once you crossed it, you would become a powerhouse. After learning this news, Zhao Ziki was wild with joy and excitement. She also had a piece of earth essence, which meant that she could also reach the venerable realm. Feeling the changes brought to his body by the earth essence, Lin Xian didn't stop and refined it again. One day later, he absorbed another piece of earth essence water. The brilliance on the surface of his body became even brighter, as if mysterious meridians were flowing through his body. However, this time his physique had a substantial breakthrough, and he was still stuck in the venerable realm. However, what made him happy was that the pure energy of the earth essence allowed him to directly break through to the early stage of the spirit detecting realm. His strength had increased by leaps and bounds. It seems that taking the earth essence many times doesn't have much effect on improving my physique. Lin Xian thought. He still had 2 pieces of earth essence water. This time he didn't use them again and carefully stored them away. Being able to reach the venerable realm and smoothly break through to the early stage of the spirit detecting realm was already a great harvest for him. Now he could already contend with a late-stage spirit detecting realm martial artist. Jiu Moyen, Divine Bird Palace, wash your necks and wait for this young master. Lin Xian clenched his fists. However, he didn't immediately leave. Instead, he turned to Zhao Ziki and said, "You also take the earth essence water. I'll protect you." Zhao Ziki was happy and quickly absorbed the earth essence water. One day later, her life force also reached the venerable realm. Because she was already at the peak of the spirit transformation realm, she smoothly broke through to the spirit detecting realm. Zhao Ziki cheered excitedly like a child. "Okay, it's time to go out." Lin Xian used the devouring sword again. A huge black hole instantly wrapped around the 2 of them, and they disappeared from the cave. Damn, where did that kid go? Yeah, it's been 3 days, and we haven't even seen his shadow. Senior brother Ing didn't see wrong, right? That's the cave of the ancient demonic bull. How could a human enter? Who knows? Anyway, we'll just wait here. Several divine bird palace disciples complained. However, they did not know that a black figure was running towards them at high speed. Whoosh! Before a divine bird palace martial artist could react, a bloody hole appeared on his neck. He covered the hole with both hands, and the light in his eyes quickly disappeared. With a loud crash, he fell to the ground. The expressions of the other two martial artists changed drastically. They immediately wanted to send out a signal, but the sword light was even faster. An early-stage spirit detecting realm cultivator was cut open, and a mid-stage spirit detecting realm disciple had one of his arms cut off. The signal flare in his hand fell to the ground. He screamed as he turned into a streak of light and retreated in fear. Brat, you're dead for sure. You still dare to come out now. That cultivator looked at Lin Xian with a vicious expression. He didn't expect that in just 3 days, not only had Lin Xian recovered from his heavy injuries, but he had also turned the tables on him. 2 dead and 1 injured in a single move. The middle stage spirit detecting realm martial artist didn't think about anything else and quickly retreated. He was running for his life. Besides them, there were other martial artists around, so the news of Lin Xian's appearance spread quickly. However, it wasn't certain whether he could leave or not. "Wanna leave?" Lin Shui sneered. He flicked out a wisp of black dragon flame and instantly caught up to that figure. The black flame burned like the flames of hell and instantly enveloped that martial artist. In an instant, he was burned to ashes, leaving not even a trace of him behind. The martial artists who were still investigating the situation felt their eyelids twitch, and they quickly left. It was too terrifying. Not only had Lin Xian recovered, but he was even stronger than before. He could actually kill a middle-stage spirit detecting realm martial artist in an instant. Since Lin Xian had decided to make a move, he didn't want to hide anything, so he didn't chase after the surrounding martial artists. His figure flashed, and he quickly ran toward the Ling Long Pavilion. This time he had to get the thing inside the Ling Long Pavilion. Although Zhao Ziqi's cultivation had increased, she wasn't a battle-type martial artist, so she didn't follow. Many martial artists were resting near the Ling Long Pavilion. This included Yi Linyan, Yu Qingqing, and the others. In the past 3 days, they had thought of many methods, but they hadn't succeeded in entering the Ling Long Pavilion. Not good, not good. That little thief has appeared again. One by one, the scouts rushed over to report the situation. Suddenly, everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that person to dare to appear again. Where is he? Dove Demonic Flame suddenly stood up, and the purple flames on his body jumped. He didn't see the people he sent out return to report. Damn it, what are those 3 guys doing? They didn't even come to report. The 3 senior brothers have been killed by that little thief, a martial artist from an affiliated sect said. What? Dove Demonic Flame was furious. Where is he? Take me there quickly. This time he had to catch him. That little thief was too hateful. He didn't kill anyone else but the disciples of the Divine Bird Palace. It was clear that he wanted to fight the Divine Bird Palace to the death. Such a person had to be eliminated. No need to look for him. I'm here, a cold shout came. Then a figure rushed over from the distance, as fast as lightning. At first, he was still far away, but in the blink of an eye, he was in front of everyone. Kid, you're really dead. Dove Demonic Flame's expression was ferocious. He gathered his men and sealed off the surroundings. Yu Qingqing also stood up. She was like a fairy from another world, cold and unparalleled. This time, she would not let him escape. Dove Demonic Flame was the most angry, so he didn't hesitate to summon a giant hand that covered the sky. Yu Qingqing held the bright moon seal in her hand. Her eyes flashed as she waited for an opportunity. Last time, She had seized the opportunity to suddenly attack and seriously injure Lin Xian. However, this time, Lin Xian didn't dodge. He held the wind shadow sword and stabbed it into the sky. Sword Qi flashed, and the terrifying sword Qi slashed the flaming palm. The two collided, and a terrifying energy burst out. The giant hand that covered the sky was split in half in front of everyone's horrified eyes, and then the sword Qi disappeared. What? That little thief resisted it. Everyone was shocked and couldn't think straight. That was an attack from a martial artist at the late stage of the spirit detecting realm. It could definitely kill any martial artist below the late stage of the spirit detecting realm. 3 days ago, that little thief didn't dare to take it head-on and could only rely on his speed to dodge. But now he had broken the opponent's attack with one sword. Wasn't this change too fast? It had to be known that after entering the 3 realms of the spirit detecting realm, it was very difficult to advance in each realm. It was not something that could be done in 1 or 2 days. It often took 3 to 5 years to break through a small realm, and this was for a genius martial artist. If it was an ordinary martial artist, it would take dozens of years. But this little thief's strength had doubled in just 3 days. This speed was terrifying. Chapter 5:25. Jiu Moyan was even more shocked. He was very clear about his own strength. This time, he was not affected by the pavilion of delicacy. This was his true strength. However, his opponent was able to break through his attack. This made him feel unreal. It was obvious that his opponent's strength was on the same level as his. He found it hard to accept. Yu Qingqing frowned. She quickly sensed Lin Xian's cultivation, and her expression changed. The aura of the spirit detecting realm. You've broken through. As soon as she said that, everyone exclaimed. Then, they tried their best to sense Lin Xian's cultivation. They all looked as if they had seen a ghost. 3 days ago, Lin Xian was still at the late stage of the spirit transformation realm. Now he had become a spirit detecting realm martial artist. Wasn't his cultivation rising a little too fast? Even a peerless genius would need several years to break through from the late stage of the spirit transformation realm to the spirit detecting realm. This guy must have some heaven-defying treasure to be able to break through in such a short time. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian with burning eyes. I guessed right. You took the earth essence. At this point, Yu Qingqing could no longer hide anything. What? He stole the earth essence. Everyone went crazy. The earth essence was a heaven-defying treasure that could change a martial artist's life level. It was a treasure that even honorable ones would be tempted by. No wonder this little thief could break through so quickly. It turned out that he had such a heaven-defying treasure. Even Yi Linyan, who had his eyes closed, abruptly opened them. His gaze was like a sword as he stared at Lin Xian. Do you really have the essence of the earth? His voice trembled slightly. Obviously, he was also very jealous of the earth essence. Yes, but I ate it. Lin Xian shrugged. Even if you kill me now, you won't get the earth essence. He's lying. Everyone, let's attack together. Jiu Moyan shouted coldly. Yu Qingqing also turned to Yi Linyan and said, Let's take him down together and share the earth essence equally. Hearing that, Yi Linyan was a little tempted. He did not completely believe Lin Xian's words. You want to fight? Then come at me. Lin Xian roared. Golden lightning runes flashed all over his body, making him look like a golden god of war. Countless black dragon flames danced around him like the flames of hell. You want to fight? Then come at me. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind like a god of war. That shocking aura immediately stunned everyone. Many cultivators retreated, not daring to step forward, disregarding everything else. Just the black dragon flame alone was not something they could contend against. The flames were like the flames of hell, more terrifying than the eternal flames of the divine bird palace. Even a martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm would be reduced to ashes. Others were afraid, but Jiao Mo Yen and Yu Qingcheng were not afraid at all. The two of them also emitted powerful auras as they quickly approached Lin Xian. Yi Linyin stood up, and a sharp sword will emanated from his body. Although he did not attack, his eyes were fixed on Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian snorted and waved his long sword, sending out several sword lights. At the same time, the black dragon flame on his body rolled, forming a giant black dragon that roared and charged forward. Sword Chi Dragon! In an instant, a sword Chi Azure Dragon rushed toward Yu Qingcheng, while a black fire dragon clawed at Jiao Mo Yen. Both forces were abnormally powerful, filling the entire space as if they were going to tear it apart. Yu Qingcheng's expression was serious. She used the bright moon seal and quickly counterattacked. Jiao Mo Yen was even more furious. This little bastard dared to fight one against two. He was obviously looking down on him. The eternal purple flames on his body danced, forming a pair of flame wings that swept in all directions. Lin Xian roared to the sky like a god of war. He quickly waved the wind shadow sword, combining the essences of wind and thunder to form a sword Chi of wind and thunder that swept in all directions. The next moment, he used the thunder fire annihilation. Thunder and fire intertwined violently. He was fighting Yu Qingcheng and Jiao Mo Yen, two late-stage spirit detecting realm experts alone. Sword Chi flew, bright moon sword and flames filled the sky. All kinds of terrifying scenes appeared one after another, causing the entire space to boil. Everyone was even more shocked. Lin Xian was too powerful. He could actually fight two powerful experts by himself. Not only that, he seemed to be getting braver as he fought. On the tip of the sword, countless sword chi rotated, forming a bright moon of sword chi that blasted toward Yu Qingcheng. At the same time, he slashed out sword chi again. The black dragon flame intertwined, forming a black phoenix that pounced toward Jiao Mo Yen. Apart from the different colors, the power was almost the same as the two's ultimate attacks. Humph! It's not that easy to imitate an ultimate technique. Yu Qingcheng shouted. Her hands formed a seal, and a bright moon spun, blasting toward Lin Xian's sword chi. Jiao Mo Yen was also furious. His opponent had actually imitated their attack. This was simply a provocation. Little bastard, you're courting death. A terrifying power exploded, forming a rolling wave that covered all directions. What impossible! Yu Qingcheng was shocked. In that moment, she felt like she was facing the bright moon seal. It was a very strange feeling. It was as if her opponent had also used the bright moon seal. Jiao Mo Yen was even more furious. His flames had been extinguished by his opponent. This was something that was impossible in the past. For a moment, the two experts were shocked and looked at Lin Xian with strange expressions. Lin Xian held his sword and stood proudly. Those attacks were naturally evolved from his great dragon sword will. The great dragon sword was an offensive saint technique. He had only obtained a trace of it, and it was already so powerful. If he obtained the real great dragon sword, one could imagine how terrifying his combat strength would be. Yi Linyun's eyes shone. He stared at Lin Xian and said loudly, "You're not bad. You're worthy of my full strength." However, Lin Xian shook his head and said in a deep voice, "Why don't we destroy the pavilion of delicacy together, and then we'll see who's stronger?" Hearing this, Yi Linyun was slightly stunned and then fell into deep thought. Lin Xian's strength was similar to his, and the power of his sword was similar to his. If the two of them worked together, it was indeed possible to destroy the pavilion of delicacy. Okay. Yi Linyun nodded in agreement. This change shocked Yu Qingcheng and Jiao Mo Yen. Yi Linyan was arrogant and had always disdained to work together with others. But now, he wanted to work together with Lin Xian. This meant that in his heart, he had recognized Lin Xian's strength. Damn thief, I'll let you have some fun first. Once we destroy the pavilion of delicacy, it'll be your death. Jiu Moyan snorted in his heart. Yu Qingqing also sighed. It seemed that regardless of whether Lin Xian had the earth essence or not, she would not be able to get it. She might as well focus on destroying the pavilion of delicacy. She might be able to get 1 or 2 treasures inside. Just as Lin Xian and Yi Linyan were working together, Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan had also reached an agreement and decided to attack together. The 4 experts working together shocked the surrounding people. The pavilion of delicacy had been troubling them for many days. Now that the 4 experts were working together, they would definitely be able to destroy it. Lin Xian and the others quickly moved forward and soon arrived within 10 feet of the pavilion of delicacy. Then, the 4 of them used their techniques and quickly moved forward. Not long after, they were once again within 5 feet. Chapter 5:26. For a moment, Lin Xian's expression became serious. Last time he was attacked by the blood-red sword qi from the pavilion of delicacy, which exposed his identity and led to him being surrounded. After 3 days, he came here again. Lin Xian took a deep breath and looked at Yi Linyan. Then he stepped out. Boom! The pavilion of delicacy emitted a dazzling light. The aura above shook, and a hazy blood-red light appeared. It quickly formed a blood-red sword qi and slashed toward Lin Xian. Attack! Lin Xian shouted. 80% of the great dragon sword intent gushed out. Together with the black dragon flame, the terrifying sword qi slashed toward the sky. The 2 sword qis collided, and the entire space trembled. However, the blood-red sword qi was too powerful. It quickly suppressed Lin Xian's sword qi and was about to slash down. At this moment, a mysterious sword diagram appeared and rushed toward the blood-red sword qi. Lin Xian and Yi Linyan's attacks seemed to be able to resist the blood-red sword qi. The blood-red sword qi trembled and emitted an aura even more terrifying than the great success sword intent. Lin Xian and Yi Linyan's attacks gradually weakened, as if they would shatter at any moment. At this moment, Yi Linyan frowned and shouted, "Why aren't you 2 attacking?" Hearing this, Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan did not hold back either. They quickly attacked the blood-red sword qi. A large green-gold hand held a bright moon and quickly blasted toward the sky. The Jiu demonic flame waved, and a purple immortal flame bird flew upward. The 4 experts all used their unique skills. All of their terrifying power landed on the blood-red sword qi. The sky was in chaos. In the end, the 4 joined forces and finally repelled the blood-red sword qi. Lin Xian and the others were overjoyed by this outcome. They quickly advanced. However, when they reached 10 meters, they encountered the blood-red sword qi again. This time, it was even more violent. The 4 joined forces and attacked quickly. This time it took a longer time, but they finally shattered the sword qi. After that, there was no more terrifying sword qi. What followed was a monstrous aura that seemed to tear people apart. Lin Xian and the others all displayed their strength and began to resist the pressure as they walked towards the door of light. Lin Xian was the best at resisting invisible forces like pressure. Activating the devouring sword in his body, Lin Xian absorbed the formless pressure. Instantly, he felt his body lighten and his blood flow become much smoother. With a grin, Lin Xian's figure flickered, quickly disappearing into the light door. So fast! How is this possible? Yu Qingqing and Jiu Moyan couldn't believe it. Their expressions were as if they had seen a ghost. Yi Linyan also frowned. Although he acknowledged Lin Xian's strength, in his opinion, Lin Xian was still inferior to him. But he didn't expect Lin Xian to display such speed at the last moment. One had to know that even he had to resist this kind of pressure with all his might. He snorted coldly and activated his greater success sword with all his might. The dazzling sword light on his body flickered incomparably. At that moment, he even used his trump card and quickly walked toward the door of light. He didn't want to waste so much energy only to have the thing taken away by someone else. However, before he could get close to the door of light, the entire pavilion of delicacy suddenly shone brightly and then quickly shrank. Like a bubble, the pavilion of delicacy became illusory and the surrounding air was distorted. What happened? Everyone in the distance was shocked and looked over. Yi Linyin and the others were even more shocked. Did Lin Xian get that thing? The light of the pavilion of delicacy gradually converged and gradually became transparent, finally forming a spiritual power storm. After the light disappeared, the scene inside the pavilion of delicacy was revealed. They looked up and saw a person's back. "It's that little thief," Jiu Moyen exclaimed. He glanced around but didn't find any other treasures. "Where is it? Did that boy really get it?" He roared to the sky, feeling very unwilling. As a peerless genius of the divine bird palace, how could he be inferior to a boy? However, before he could vent his anger, an unusually fierce and violent aura shrouded the area. Jiu Moyen's face changed greatly. Before he could defend himself, he was blasted away. Lin Xian didn't feel good either. His body felt as if it had been pierced by countless ice swords. It was extremely painful. He stepped back step by step, cracking the hard ground. As he stepped back, everyone could finally see the scene in front of them. A drop of scarlet blood exuded a terrifying pressure. Above it, it exuded a terrifying sword essence that had surpassed the profound sword essence. An aura that surpassed the profound sword essence? Was it the perfect sword essence? Lin Xian was shocked. Yi Linyin was also happy. His eyes were shining as he stared at the drop of blood. The drop of blood was exposed to the air, and then it exuded a monstrous aura that made everyone collapse to the ground. "What is this aura? It's so uncomfortable." "No, the blood in my body feels like it's going to explode." The surrounding warriors were terrified. They struggled to crawl away, trying to get rid of the terrifying suppression. Only Lin Xian and a few others were still holding on. He and Yi Linyin released powerful sword essences to resist the shocking sword essence. Demonic flames bloodline surged, and the phantom of a three-headed vermilion blood bird appeared behind him. He originally had a thin divine bird bloodline, but under the suppression of the drop of blood, his bloodline power was stimulated. The phantom of the three-headed vermilion blood bird was very faint, but it was very intelligent. Its cold eyes stared at the drop of blood on the ground, and it was abnormally nervous. What kind of blood could make the three-headed vermilion blood bird so nervous? Lin Xian was puzzled. "This is the blood of a king," Lord Alcohol said, "and it's a king of the sword Dao." A king? Lin Xian was shocked. Above the supremacy realm was the king realm. There were no such figures in the Tianan region. Even in the Tianwu region, they were the top existences. He didn't expect to see the blood essence of a king here. Furthermore, the sword essence contained within it was extremely sharp. It made him feel suffocated. This blood has existed for too long. Otherwise, just the pressure alone would be enough to kill all of you, Lord Alcohol said. The more Lin Xian heard, the more shocked he became. At the same time, he was deeply curious about a king. He wanted to know how powerful a warrior who was more powerful than a supremacy was. If I can obtain this king's blood, I should be able to improve my dragon sword intent again. Lin Xian guessed. The last time his sword intent had greatly improved, it was because he had obtained a withered tree with 3 sword scars. Now, the sword intent in the king's blood was much stronger than before. It should be able to allow him to reach the great success stage. At that time, he wouldn't have to fear anyone. Thinking of this, he looked at the king's blood with a burning gaze. Yi Linyan and the others also had the same idea. Yi Linyan wanted to comprehend sword intent, while Jiu Demonic Flame wanted to improve his bloodline power. Although Yu Qingqing wasn't a swordsman and didn't have bloodline power, she knew how precious the king's blood was. If she brought it back to the sect and offered it to the sect's elders, it would definitely be a great merit. At that time, she would receive an unimaginable reward. Therefore, she also wanted to obtain the king's blood. The four of them had different thoughts, but their goal was the same. They all wanted the king's blood. This king's blood is mine, Yi Linyun said firmly. Chapter 5:27. This is an ownerless item. Who knows who it belongs to? Jiu Demonic Flame coldly snorted. Although he was afraid of Yi Linyan, it was impossible for him to give up the king's blood just like that. All right then, let's fight for it with our strength. Yu Qingqing stretched out her star-picking hand and quickly grabbed at it. His palm was hazy and illusory. This was the moon-embracing pavilion's consummate skill, the star-plucking hand. It was rumored that once one mastered it, they would be able to pluck the true form. Now, they were using it to seize the blood of kings. It was extremely effective. Yi Linyun snorted coldly as he unsheathed his sword. Sword, Qi, quickly slashed towards the star-picking hand. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He immediately used the devouring sword, wanting to devour the king's blood. A pitch-black sword appeared, and a black vortex appeared at the tip of the sword as if it could devour everything. His king bloodline trembled and emitted a terrifying light. It formed streaks of sword qi that slashed out in all directions. This sword energy was incomparably sharp. It could break mountains and rivers, cut the sun and moon. Any martial artist below the late stage of the spirit detecting realm would die upon contact. These sword qis gathered together to form a blood-red longsword, resisting the pitch-black devouring sword. The other three were even more shocked and furious. They quickly attacked. Brat, you're courting death. Leave behind the king's sword. Jiu Demonic Flame was furious. Flames danced behind his back, forming a pair of flaming wings that were dozens of feet long. Like a world-destroying heavenly blade, they slashed towards Lin Xian. The blood of a king was extremely precious. If he could obtain it, he would definitely be able to raise the power of his bloodline to the extreme. There was even a possibility that he would return to his ancestral roots. At that time, he might have the opportunity to become a successor disciple of the Divine Bird Palace. Therefore, no matter what, he would not give up on this king's blood. For a moment, all kinds of terrifying attacks were directed at Lin Xian, trying to tear him apart. With a sway of his body, Lin Xian left a series of afterimages in the air, dodging like a bubble. He made up his mind and urged the devouring sword to increase its devouring power. The king's blood vibrated even more violently, as if it would disappear at any moment. Originally, with the strength of Yi Linyun and the others, it was impossible for them to seize the blood. However, the sword of devouring was too terrifying. With the support of Lin Xian, it seemed to be able to devour the blood. Lin Xian activated the devouring sword as if he had gone mad. Above the black sword, the vortex spun rapidly, forming a strange and unpredictable force. In the next moment, it sucked the blood away and disappeared. Leave behind the blood of a king! Yi Linyun roared in anger. The originally hazy bottleneck of the great success of the sword intent was now very clear. It was as if he could cross it at any time. Just as Lin Xian was comprehending the great success of the sword intent, The entire Lost Lands was surging with undercurrents. The three six-star sects had joined forces with their subsidiary sects and launched a large-scale search to capture Lin Xian. The Lost Lands was originally controlled by the three major forces. Now that all of them were on the move, it could be said that Lin Xian was doomed. Lin Xian also knew that the situation was urgent. He had to comprehend the great success of the sword intent. Otherwise, it would be difficult to resist the anger of the three six-star sections. 3 days later, a dazzling sword light burst out from his body. The terrifying sword aura turned into a true dragon and roared at the sky. At this moment, all the demonic beasts within 100 miles were prostrated on the ground, trembling. It was a pressure that came from the depths of their souls. The dragon's roar made them unable to resist. The nearby martial artists were also shocked. The sword aura was too terrifying. It made their hearts tremble. Could it be that thief? Quickly report that we found the target. No one dared to delay. They quickly sent out signals to inform Yi Linyun and the others. Soon, countless martial artists rushed over. Everyone joined forces and formed a circle, rushing toward the source of the sword aura. On the giant tree, Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze turned into rays of sword light, tearing the space in front of him. Is this the great success of the sword intent? It's so powerful. He clenched his fists and smiled. Then he frowned. He sensed a large number of martial artists chasing after him. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth curled into a cold smile as he raised his arm. These people joined forces to search for him. Did they really think that he was easy to bully? In the next moment, his arm fell, and a sword aura that was hundreds of feet long was released. The sword aura was swift and fierce. It was like a true dragon rushing forward. Wherever it passed, the mountain rocks shattered and the ground caved in. Ah no! The martial artists who were chasing after him screamed in horror and quickly retreated. However, they were still one step too late. The huge sword aura fell and enveloped countless people. Chapter 5:28. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, causing the entire earth to tremble. Mountains collapsed one after another, and countless trees were swept away by the strong winds, turning into pieces under the sword chi. This sword was too terrifying. It killed more than 10 early-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artists. A 1,000-meter-long crack appeared on the ground. It was so deep that the bottom couldn't be seen. It was terrifying. The surviving martial artists trembled and fled. They no longer dared to chase after Lin Xian. It was too terrifying. Even Yi Linyun and the other 2 top experts might not be able to create such a terrifying aura. After repelling everyone with one sword, Lin Xian's figure flashed and quickly disappeared. After reaching greater success in sword intent, his perception of the great dragon's sword had become clearer. Now was the time to go find it. Not long after he left, Jiu Moyan, Yu Qingqing, and the others quickly arrived. They looked at the bottomless sword scar in silence. Judging from the aura emanating from him, Lin Xian had already surpassed them. Jiu Moyan's expression was ferocious as he clenched his fists. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. It had only been a few days, and Lin Xian had surpassed him from an ant. He couldn't accept this. Yu Qingqing also sighed. Lin Xian's growth was too fast. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before they were no match for Lin Xian. In the forest, Yi Linyun looked at the 1,000-meter-long sword scar with a serious expression. He then turned into a sword light and rushed forward. His mentality was different from Jiu Moyan and Yu Qingqing. As a swordsman, he had to fight with Lin Xian. Lin Xian was moving in the direction he sensed. At this moment, he suddenly sensed a powerful force rapidly approaching from behind. He abruptly turned his head and saw a beam of sword chi rushing over from behind. Wherever it passed, the trees on both sides were cut in half. The sword qi was too sharp. It destroyed everything around it. Nothing could stop it. Yi Linyan! Lin Xian stopped with a serious expression. He had to admit that his opponent was an outstanding swordsman. Whoosh! The sword light arrived in front of Lin Xian and instantly stopped. The terrifying sword qi turned into a sword wave, slicing through the air in all directions. Yi Linyun's figure also appeared. His white robe fluttered in the wind, and he carried an ancient sword on his back. His body was filled with sword intent, and he looked like an unsheathed divine sword. Mastery of sword intent. You've really broken through to mastery of sword intent. Yi Linyan looked at Lin Xian, his voice trembling slightly. Needless to say, this was definitely the effect of the king's blood. If he had obtained the king's blood back then his sword intent would most likely have taken a step closer and reached the great perfection realm. No one can take away what belongs to me, and you are no exception. Yi Linyan pulled out the ancient sword on his back. Holding the ancient sword, Yi Linyun's sword qi became even stronger. If it was before, Lin Xian really wouldn't have been confident. But now that he had reached the large success stage of sword intent, he didn't fear Yi Linyan at all. He believed that the great success of the great dragon sword intent was definitely stronger than his opponent's sword intent. You're very strong, but you can't beat me. Lin Xian was very confident. Humph, arrogant. Yi Linyan shouted angrily. He had never been underestimated before. Although Lin Xian had also comprehended the great success stage of sword intent, he didn't believe that his opponent's sword intent was stronger than his. After all, he had comprehended the great success stage of sword intent for quite some time. In terms of using sword intent, he could definitely crush his opponent. Thinking of this, he stabbed out with the ancient sword in his hand, and a monstrous spiritual energy erupted. The sword qi was like a rainbow that quickly streaked across the void. Wherever it passed, small spatial cracks appeared. Whoosh! Lin Xian held the wind shadow sword and used the sword drawing technique. The wind and thunder sword qi struck out, and the sword slashed at the ancient sword. Bang! The two swords collided, forming sword waves that spread out in all directions. The earth shook, and the surrounding trees were cut in half. Countless sword qi appeared in the air and flew in all directions. After one strike, the entire earth was covered in wounds. Seeing that the ancient sword was blocked, Yi Linyun's pupils shrank. Then he swept his sword across, and countless sword qi flew out. Every sword qi was terrifying and contained great success stage sword intent. Hundreds of sword qi attacked together, and all of them blasted toward Lin Xian. This attack was very terrifying, and very few people in the spirit detecting realm could block it. Lin Xian's body suddenly stopped, and the wind shadow sword drew a half moon in front of him. The great success stage dragon sword intent merged into the sword qi, and the moon-breaking sword qi flew out. The huge arc-shaped sword qi was like a crescent moon, and it instantly split apart all of Yi Linyun's sword radiance. Then it quickly slashed down. Poof! Yi Linyun's body retreated rapidly, and his figure was erratic. He was extremely shocked. He used his speed to the extreme, and only then did he barely dodge the crescent sword qi. How is this possible? They both had great success stage sword intent. But why was his opponent's sword intent so sharp that it could split all of his attacks in one move? This didn't make sense at all. One had to know that he was a peerless genius of the deity Sword Villa, and he had comprehended great success stage sword intent for 2 years. In terms of mastery and use of sword intent, he was absolutely confident that he could crush Lin Xian. However, reality hit him in the head. In front of Lin Xian, his great success stage sword intent couldn't even withstand a single blow. He couldn't accept it. Impossible. Suppress him. Yi Linyun shouted, and his sword intent intertwined. forming a mysterious sword diagram. The sword diagram was at a loss, and it emitted an unpredictable aura, as if it could envelop heaven and earth. Yi Linyin waved the ancient sword and controlled the sword diagram to suppress Lin Xian. The mysterious sword diagram released tens of thousands of sword qi, and even the void couldn't withstand it. Lin Xian focused. He had already seen the power of the sword diagram, and it was terrifying. However, now that he had reached great success stage sword intent, he wasn't afraid of the sword diagram at all. On the wind shadow sword, the black dragon flame danced, and it emitted scorching energy. A black dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws was born along with the sword qi, and it quickly flew over. Boom! In the next moment, it dashed out and occupied the entire space, and its huge dragon claws slapped the sword diagram. The black dragon flame danced and burned, and the sword qi destroyed the sword diagram. Yi Linyun's mysterious sword diagram was completely suppressed by the black dragon flame, and the light on it dimmed. Take my strongest attack. Ling Yun gritted his teeth and said. Then all the spiritual energy in his body surged and poured into the sword diagram. The dim sword diagram emitted a dazzling light again, and sword intent intertwined to form a mysterious sword, emitting a shocking aura. The sword diagram and the divine sword rushed out quickly, slashing toward Lin Xian. The divine sword was only 3 feet long, but it seemed to be able to crush heaven and earth, and it quickly rushed toward Lin Xian. Sword of Nirvana! Lin Xian waved the wind shadow sword, and with a stab, everything fell silent. He had comprehended this move from the blood of a king, and it was extremely powerful. He had comprehended a total of 3 moves, and this sword of Nirvana was one of them. An aura of death was emitted, and it quickly collided with the divine sword diagram. Chi-Chi, the originally bright, divine sword diagram, quickly dimmed under the influence of the sword of Nirvana, as if its energy had been drained. What kind of sword technique is this? Yi Linyun was shocked. This move was too strange, and it directly made his sword diagram disappear. He wanted to counterattack, but Lin Xian was already in front of him. Chapter 5:29. With a flash of sword light, it pierced through Yi Linyun's defense. The terrifying sword intent instantly left a bloody hole in his shoulder. Yi Linyun retreated frantically in fear. However, Lin Xian was even faster. He waved his left palm and struck Yi Linyun's chest, sending him flying. You've lost! Lin Xian sheathed his sword with a cold expression. Then he turned around and left, quickly disappearing. His strength had already surpassed Yi Linyun's, so there was no point in continuing the fight. Yi Linyun lay on the ground, his eyes losing their luster. He had always claimed to be a sword genius and had never taken anyone seriously. When he first met Lin Xian, although he did not show it, he still felt disdain in his heart. However, today the person he despised had actually defeated him. This was undoubtedly a deep irony to him. He knew that Lin Xian had already become his inner demon. If he did not resolve it, his sword skills would probably not improve in this lifetime. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 figures rushed over from behind and landed on the tree branches. These 2 people were Jiu Moyan and Yu Qingcheng. They were originally chasing after Lin Xian, but when they saw Yi Linyun's situation, they were all stunned. Even someone as powerful as Yi Linyun had been defeated. Were they still going to chase after him? Lin Xian naturally did not know this. He followed the perception of the great dragon sword and quickly ran into the forest. The trees in front of him became sparse, and a mountain range appeared. In the mountain range, there was a huge palace floating. Lin Xian sensed that the great dragon sword seemed to be in the palace. He did not delay any longer and turned into a stream of light, flying away. After approaching, he saw the huge palace clearly. It was a dark red palace. It was surrounded by black lightning, emitting a wild and desolate aura. On the stone pillars, there were all kinds of ancient beasts carved. The workmanship was amazing. What was even more shocking was that the entire palace sat on a pile of bones. Those bones were very large. The shortest was dozens of feet long, while the longest was hundreds of feet long. There were even some that were close to 10,000 feet. These bones were piled together, forming a white bone mountain. The great, desolate palace sat on top of the bone mountain. The two scenes gave people a very shocking visual impact. Lin Xian took a deep breath and transformed into a bolt of lightning as he quickly approached. Soon, he arrived in front of the palace. His surrounding soul power probed forward, but it was blocked by a mysterious power. Even though he was so close to it, he still felt that the palace was like a dream, as if it shouldn't exist. This feeling was too strange. It was something he had never experienced before. "Be careful, I sense an unusual aura." Lord Alcohol sent a voice transmission. "Yes." Lin Xian nodded and cautiously walked forward. In the next moment, his expression changed greatly, and his body moved 10 meters to the side. The space where he was originally standing cracked open. Countless wind blades appeared and shattered the space. "You're that thief? Interesting." A mocking voice sounded. He's only so-so. In my opinion, he can't even withstand a single blow. I can crush him to death with a single finger." This voice was filled with disdain. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He turned around and his expression changed. There was a figure standing on a nearby hill. This person was very strange. He had a body with 2 heads, one on the left and one on the right. One was a man and the other was a woman. How was this a person? This was clearly a monster. At that moment, the 2 heads were looking at Lin Xian with eyes filled with malice. "Hee, big brother, look at that thief's shocked expression. He's so cute. I really want to cut off his head and hug it. Cute my ass. I must chop him into mincemeat and feed him to the dogs." The 2 of them spoke one after another, completely disregarding Lin Xian. Lin Xian frowned. This monster gave him an extremely dangerous feeling. Furthermore, he hadn't sensed its existence at all. If not for the spiritual energy fluctuations from the last attack, he might not have been able to dodge in time. What's the origin of this monster? Hee, that thief definitely wants to know our identities. We just won't tell him. The demon sister giggled. "Little sister, stop messing around. I must let him know when he dies." The demon brother's face was insolent. "Thief, you dared to kill a disciple of my divine bird palace. Today I'll send you to hell. I'll pull out your tendons, peel off your skin, refine your soul, and seal you in hell forever." Divine Bird Palace? They're also disciples of the Divine Bird Palace? Lin Xian was shocked. However, when he thought of the 3-headed vermilion blood bird's strange combination of 3 heads, he was no longer surprised. There was no need to think. For such a monster to exist, it had to be the Divine Bird Palace. However, what shocked Lin Xian was that this 2-headed monster's cultivation was abnormally strong. It was far stronger than the demonic dove flame. Perhaps even Yi Linyan was not its opponent. This guy should be at the peak of the spirit detecting realm. I just don't know if this 2-headed monster has any other special abilities. Lin Xian guessed. "Thief, have you thought about how you're going to die?" The demon brother shouted. Hee, big brother, you must preserve his head completely." The monster sister laughed. "Humph, stop bragging. You're neither a man nor a woman. Show me what you've got." Lin Xian coldly snorted. "What did you say? You're courting death." The demon's sister screamed. "Wah, wah, wah, I'll tear you to pieces." The demon brother also crazily roared. They were brother and sister, twins that had inherited the pure bloodline of the 3-headed vermilion blood bird. Although they were strong, they were still monsters in the eyes of outsiders. Lin Xian's words had hit their sore spot, so the two of them were extremely irritable. "Brat, you're dead. No one in the world can save you." The demon brother crazily roared. A death scythe appeared in his hand with purple lightning dancing on top of it. The demon's sister took out a giant fan that was covered in azure light and contained the power of the wind. "I'll make your head into the most beautiful specimen," the demon's sister shouted. She waved the giant fan in her hand, and the power of the wind enveloped Lin Xian. The demon brother waved his death scythe. Suddenly, the sky was filled with thunder and lightning, as if it was a sea of lightning from hell. The violent power of the thunder and the cold power of the wind attacked at the same time. Like two energy storms, they quickly enveloped Lin Xian. The power was very terrifying. It was far from what geodemonic flame and the others could display. The demon brother and sister must be the top genius disciples of the divine bird palace. Lin Xian's face was solemn. His figure was like a phantom as he dodged at extreme speed. The two's cultivation was far above his, and they also had the concept of thunder and wind. They were stronger than him. Fortunately, he had comprehended the great success, sword intent. Otherwise, there was no way he could fight this battle. Sword of Nirvana! A sword light flashed, and the power of death appeared as if it could destroy everything. The gray sword light dragon rushed into the wind and thunder energy and exploded with the terrifying power of Nirvana. Hey, what a strange energy! What sword technique is this? The demon's sister was surprised. Chapter 530. Humph, your moves are exquisite, but your power is too weak. Break for me. The monster brother sneered disdainfully. Then he waved his death scythe, and an even more violent power of thunder and lightning, together with the huge scythe phantom, quickly slashed out. Ka ka ka! The Nirvana sword shattered under the bombardment, turning into bits and pieces and disappearing into the sky. Ha ha ha! The monster brother laughed. Little thief, go to hell! The scythe phantom was too powerful, instantly shattering the Nirvana sword. The monster brother's casual attack had already surpassed Yilinyun's strongest move. On the other side, the monster sister waved the green fan in her hand, and the surrounding air condensed and then quickly cracked, like countless cracks on the surface of a mirror. For a moment, Lin Xian felt the surrounding space freeze, as if his body was about to be torn apart. He quickly used the concept of wind to resist the opponent's wind power. At the same time, he waved his sword again. Sword of Slaughter. This sword was also comprehended from the blood of a king. On the sword light, a scarlet blood light appeared, and a blood-colored sword aura surged out. The light was dazzling like blood and emitted a bloody aura, as well as a monstrous aura of slaughter. This was a sword of slaughter, and the violent spiritual energy instantly slashed towards the monster. Ka ka ka! Wherever the blood-colored sword aura passed, the space cracked, and the opponent's wind power was destroyed. This is interesting. The monster's sister laughed, and the fan in her hand spun. And suddenly, dozens of violent winds appeared, connecting heaven and earth, and swept towards Lin Xian. The ground cracked, and the mountain rocks collapsed. It was a terrifying scene. The two fought fiercely, and the energy was vast and terrifying, sweeping in all directions. However, they did not notice that there were 8 black stone steels buried in the ground around the bone palace. Now the violent energy fluctuations blasted the ground open, and the stone steels emitted a strange light. Suddenly, one of the stone steels was blasted away by the surging energy. The black stone steel that was blasted away had a smooth surface. It paused in the air for a moment, and then quickly flew towards the ground. It was as if it wanted to suppress something. However, just as it approached the ground, a beam of energy suddenly rushed out from the ground shattering the black stone steel. Lin Xian and the demon siblings did not notice this. They were still fighting fiercely. However, not long after, a terrifying aura gushed out from the ground. It was as if a peerless demon was about to be born. Lin Xian was shocked. His figure retreated rapidly, like a wisp of sword light, instantly arriving at a safe place. The demon siblings stopped in midair, their expressions grave and uneasy. They quickly looked around and locked onto the ground. Big brother, what's the aura this time? Why do I feel that it's even stronger than our holy bird? I don't know. Looking at the strange situation here, could there really be some terrifying existence suppressed below? For a moment, they were bewildered. Lin Xian was also puzzled. This aura was too powerful. He felt that it had even surpassed a venerable one's aura. Kid, something's not right. I'm afraid there's a peerless monster below. Lord Alcohol sent a voice transmission. Don't act rashly. If there's a threat, use the devouring sword to escape. Lin Xian nodded and released his soul force to sense the surroundings. Big brother, do we still want to kill this little thief? The little sister asked. Kill. He's an enemy of our divine bird palace. If we don't kill him, we won't be able to sleep tonight. The demon brothers' expression was ferocious. They observed for a while and found that although the underground aura was fierce, it couldn't come out immediately. They had absolute confidence that they could kill Lin Xian in one move. Little thief, I don't have time to play with you. Die. The demon brother waved his huge scythe, filling the sky with scythe phantoms. Like the summoning of the Grim Reaper, the death scythe was entwined with purple lightning. Its momentum was terrifying and incomparably violent. A scythe blade that was 100 feet long quickly slashed down from the void. The little monster sister also unleashed waves of sharp wind power. The combination of wind and lightning made the death scythe even more fierce, with an aura that could destroy everything. Countless tiny cracks appeared in the void, as if it couldn't withstand the power. Lin Xian didn't force his attack. He raised his speed to the limit and retreated at lightning speed. At the same time, he activated the concept of wind, reducing the spatial resistance to the minimum. A sword beam flashed under Lin Xian's feet. In an instant, his speed reached the limit. The huge death scythe slashed down, and another terrifying trench appeared in the ground. This attack sent another black steel flying. The huge death scythe was about to envelop Lin Xian. At this moment, an even more violent aura surged out from the ground. It was as if a pair of invisible hands had grabbed the death scythe and shattered the black steel that had been sent flying. Then the terrifying death scythe turned into a pure energy and sank into the ground. The ground trembled as countless cracks spread out in all directions. It was a shocking sight, as if it would split open at any moment. The remaining 6 steels emitted light, forming a huge starlight array that suppressed the area below. However, the array was badly damaged because 2 pieces were broken. Perhaps it was because of its age, but the light of the array formation flickered unsteadily. Roar! A deep roar came from the ground. It was dull and desolate with an endless aura. As soon as the sound came out, countless bolts of lightning appeared in the sky, dancing wildly. There were even bolts of lightning as thick as buckets that struck in all directions. What's this? Is there really a peerless beast coming out? The demon's sister looked scared. Damn it, it's too strange. Let's retreat first. The demon brother did not dare to fight anymore. Little thief, consider yourself lucky. I'll spare your life for now. I'll definitely take your head another day. The demon's siblings rushed into the sky, wanting to leave. However, they did not go far before an invisible barrier bounced them back. How can this be? Ouch, it hurts. Why can't I go out? The demon's sister roared. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. From the situation just now, It seemed that the surroundings had been sealed. However, he did not know if it was because of their ray or because of the demons below. However, he had the sword of devouring, so he was not too worried. On the other side, the demon siblings condensed the death scythe again and slashed at the void, trying to tear open the invisible shackles and escape this world. However, their attacks were futile. The bombardment did not remove any threat at all. Instead, their attacks turned into pure energy and sank into the ground. The demon siblings were shocked by this scene. A sense of fear enveloped their hearts. "Damn it," they roared and looked at Lin Xian. "Despicable little thief. It's all because of you that we fell into such danger. I'll definitely tear you to pieces." Lin Xian's face was gloomy as he snorted. "I'm standing right here. Come at me if you have the ability. If you don't bite me like a mad dog." "What did you say? You're courting death. We'll kill you right now." The demon siblings roared crazily and turned into afterimages as they charged over. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He held the wind shadow sword and released his large success sword intent, ready to charge out at any moment. Just as the battle was about to break out, the ground suddenly cracked open as a huge black shadow rushed into the sky like a pillar. Chapter 531. The surrounding air exploded, and large cracks appeared in the space as countless black holes flickered within. This terrifying momentum sent the demon siblings flying in the sky. Lin Xian was also shocked. He used his movement technique to quickly dodge. At the same time, he waved his long sword and slashed the violent energy around him away. This aura was too terrifying. He did not plan to stay here any longer. At this moment, several extremely powerful auras suddenly came from afar and were rushing in this direction. In the next moment, 8 figures appeared in the sky. 8 figures stood in the sky. Lin Xian was shocked. He looked up and saw 8 people wearing beast skins. Their expressions were solemn, and their auras were powerful. Even the weakest one was stronger than the monster siblings. 2 of them had the most powerful auras. Lin Xian sensed that they were definitely not weaker than the supremacies he had seen before. Who are these people? There are actually 2 supremacies. Lin Xian was astonished. Judging from the monster siblings' expressions, these people were definitely not from the 3 forces. There was only one possibility, and that was that they were natives of the Lost Lands. There were actually supremacies in the Lost Lands. Lin Xian did not dare to imagine it. The 8 figures in the sky looked at the cracked ground and the pillar-like black shadow with solemn expressions. One of the old men stretched out his palm and grabbed downwards, instantly breaking the invisible barrier. The 8 figures quickly descended and appeared in front of Lin Xian. "Brats from the outside world, how dare you break the secondary ceiling steels?" One of the young men in beast clothing shouted coldly. As for the others, they quickly scouted out the situation. "Oh no, the 2 ceiling steels have disappeared!" Someone exclaimed. "What?" The old man in the lead was shocked. "Quickly set up the formation. We must suppress the monsters below. You 2 dare to break the seal of the steels. You're courting death." The young man in beast clothing had a cold expression. He quickly attacked, and 2 light palms blasted towards Lin Xian and the monster siblings. Lin Yuxuan quickly dodged and narrowly avoided the huge light palms. The monster siblings were even more furious. They were geniuses and had never been scolded like this before. Now, there was actually someone who was disrespectful to them. This was simply more detestable than that little thief. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them wielded huge scythes and hacked apart the palm of light, quickly rushing over. Unexpectedly, the beast-robed young man snorted coldly and pointed his finger at the scythe phantom in the sky. Then, the finger beam blasted the demon siblings away. Lin Xian was astonished. This youth was too powerful. He had sent the demon's cultivation flying with a single move. It has to be said that the monster siblings were both at the peak of the spirit detecting realm. The two of them together were extremely powerful, but now he was defeated with a single move. Then the beast-clothed young man looked at Lin Xian with killing intent in his eyes. Those who destroy the sealing steel die. As he pointed out with his finger, the space around him trembled as a gigantic finger beam spun rapidly, arriving before Lin Xian in an instant. It was too fast, so fast that Lin Xian had no time to react. At the critical moment, he used the sword of devouring to devour his body and disappeared. Using the sword of devouring consumed soul power, and the longer the distance, the more soul power it consumed. Lin Xian could easily cover a distance of 10 feet. 10 feet away, she appeared with a trace of anger in her eyes. He didn't know what the sealing steel was, and the other party didn't explain anything. He actually tried to kill him as soon as he came up, which made him furious. He actually dodged it. The beast-clothed young man was surprised, and then a trace of anger appeared on his face. It was a bit surprising that an ant could actually dodge his attack. He raised his finger and wanted to attack again. At this moment, the leading old man suddenly shouted, "Sher Kuen, what are you doing? Hurry up and set up the array. If that ferocious beast escapes, everyone will die." Hearing this, the beast-clothed young man's face changed. He looked coldly at Lin Xian, then quickly moved to the front of a black steel. "Kid, consider yourself lucky. I'll spare your life this time. However, since you dared to destroy the steel, I'll take your life sooner or later." A voice filled with killing intent echoed in Lin Xian's ears. At this moment, the 8 natives of the Lost Lands quickly released their spirit energy and injected it into the steel. A huge astral light array was formed with a monstrous aura that suppressed the area below. Lin Xian frowned. It wasn't a good thing to be targeted by such a powerful warrior. Furthermore, the other party seemed determined to kill him. It didn't feel good to have his fate controlled by others. Only by obtaining the Great Dragon's sword could he escape this situation. With this thought in mind, he retreated to the side and secretly observed his surroundings. On White Bone Mountain, there was a huge palace surrounded by black lightning. Ordinary warriors couldn't approach it at all. According to Lord Alcohol's judgment, even a Supremacy Realm warrior couldn't break through the black lightning. Lin Xian could use the sword of devouring to enter, but it consumed too much of his soul power. He would be in a weakened state if he entered. Such a place was definitely not safe. If he were to encounter danger in his weakened state, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. He would be courting death if he entered. Therefore, he was waiting for an opportunity. The ground cracked as a black shadow that resembled a heavenly pillar danced in all directions, resisting the new array formation formed by the 8 warriors. Only then did Lin Xian realize that the huge black shadow was actually a tail. However, the tail was too terrifying. It was 1,000 feet long and covered in scales. Each scale was the size of a house. They shone brightly and were filled with terrifying power. The tail rumbled as it struck the astral light array every time. If not for the strange energy emitted by the black steel, the 8 warriors wouldn't have been able to resist the huge tail. Even with the black steel suppression, the 8 of them still found it difficult. The 1,000-foot-long tail struck the astral light array and was sent flying by the impact. It fell in the direction of the mysterious palace. Boom! 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 The 1,000-foot-long tail struck the mysterious palace. The surrounding black lightning immediately formed a terrifying lightning force that enveloped it. Crackle! A deep roar suddenly sounded from below. Clearly, the black lightning force was unbearable for the ferocious beast. Then the 1,000-foot-long tail slashed toward the black lightning like a heavenly knife. The collision of the two caused an earth-shaking boom. The entire mountain range trembled and countless mountains exploded into gravel. The shocking thing was that the 1,000-foot-long tail tore a crack in the black lightning. This scene immediately shocked the 8 indigenous warriors. They knew how terrifying the black lightning was. Once, there was a martial venerable in their tribe who wanted to enter the lost shrine. In the end, he was struck by the black lightning and nothing was left. Since then, no one dared to have any ideas about the palace. Instead, they followed the ancient will and guarded the White Bone Mountain to suppress the demonic creatures below. However, they didn't expect the demon below the White Bone Mountain to be able to split the black lightning. Needless to say, the peerless demon's cultivation must have surpassed the martial venerable realm. If it came out, it would definitely be a disaster for the entire lost place. Therefore, they had to suppress it. In the distance, Lin Xian's heart beat wildly when he saw the gap. This was definitely a good opportunity for him to enter the mysterious palace. Chapter 532. Therefore he did not hesitate. He turned into a ray of sword light and quickly approached the mysterious palace. The beast-robed youth happened to see the scene. "Brat, you're courting death." The beast-robed youth was furious. He did not expect that an ant would dare to touch the lost temple. Immediately, the other 7 powerhouses saw this scene, but all of their spiritual energy was used to maintain the array, so they could not do anything. They could only watch as Lin Xian entered the lost temple through the gap in the black lightning. Whoosh! In the next moment, Lin Xian disappeared, and the black lightning that was split open completely recovered and emitted a terrifying energy again. "Elder, that little thief entered the lost temple. What should we do?" The beast-robed youth roared unwillingly. "Ignore him. The lost temple is extremely dangerous. Even a venerable will die inside. He's only at the early stage of the spirit detecting realm, so there's no chance of him surviving." The leading elder shook his head. If the lost temple was so easy to break into, they would have acted long ago. "Okay, don't think too much. Let's quickly suppress this beast." The 8 of them shouted and poured their spiritual energy into the black stone tablet. The other 2 venerables used their methods to simulate 2 stone tablets and suppress the beast together. The mysterious palace was dark and gloomy. After Lin Xian entered, his perception of the great dragon's sword became stronger. He could clearly sense that the great dragon sword was inside the palace, and he also felt a faint summoning. It seemed that his great dragon sword intent had a trace of connection with the great dragon sword soul. After passing through layers of passages, Lin Xian quickly walked into the depths of the palace. He remembered that there was a mysterious man in the scene he saw before. If he guessed correctly, that mysterious man should be from the Black Dragon sect. No matter what, he would not let him get the great dragon sword soul. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's speed increased again, and he turned into a ray of light and quickly disappeared. In the huge space, there was a black array platform in the center. The platform was surrounded by black crystals that were 10 feet tall. They emitted a strange and unfathomable power that formed a defensive barrier. In the center of the array platform, the great dragon sword soul was constantly floating. Not far from the black altar stood a black-robed man. This man had a feminine appearance. His face was pale, and there were a few black scales on his cheeks. At this moment, he looked at the black altar with a fiery gaze. However, he did not move. The reason for that was because there was an invisible power surrounding the black altar that was capable of blocking everything. After such a long time, the black-robed man was still advancing slowly. He still hadn't reached the edge of the altar. There were 4 pitch-black gates in the 4 corners of the mysterious space, just like the gates of hell. The door behind the black-robed man was already open, while the other 3 sides were sealed. At this moment, the sealed black door in front of the black-robed man suddenly trembled. Someone came in. Don't tell me they are the aboriginals of the Lost Lands. The black-robed man's eyes were cold. He had also heard that the natives of the Lost Lands were called the descendants of the gods. It seemed that they had a special method to enter this place. With doubts in his heart, he looked at the opened, pitch-black door. The black door slowly opened and a young man walked out. His face was delicate and pretty, and his eyes were as sharp as swords. "What? It's him." The black-robed man was shocked. Then his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Lin Xian ran all the way and saw a pitch-black door. Without hesitation, he quickly pushed open the hellish door. Then he saw a huge black altar. There were 4 pitch-black crystals on top of the altar, and they were giving off a mysterious aura. Behind the altar stood a devilish man in a black robe. Lin Xian was not surprised. He had seen this black-robed man in the previous scene. Moreover, at the Green Dragon Assembly, he had also seen a puppet that looked exactly like this black-robed man. He guessed that the puppet existed to collect the real dragon chi. The black-robed man was shocked. He had thought that it would be an old monster from the Lost Lands, but he didn't expect it to be a young man. Moreover, he knew this young man and even had a grudge against him. "Lowly worm, I didn't expect you to come here. You actually came here. You dared to ruin my plan last time. I will destroy your body and soul." The black-robed man was full of murderous intent. According to his original plan, he would have obtained enough real dragon chi at the Green Dragon Assembly. This way, he would be able to weaken the seal around him and quickly obtain the great dragon sword soul. However, he didn't expect that there would be a young man who could defeat his clone at the Green Dragon Assembly and even see through his identity. As a result, not only did he not obtain more real dragon chi, he couldn't even take away the original one. In the end, he only obtained a wisp of real dragon chi. Until now, he had not been able to get close to the great dragon sword soul. If Lin Xian hadn't ruined it, he might have already obtained the great dragon sword soul. Therefore, he had unwillingly torn his opponent apart. Lin Xian's heart was heavy, and his face became extremely ugly. Judging from his aura, the black-robed man's cultivation was at least in the honorable realm. It was very likely that he was even higher. In the face of such an expert, he had no chance of escaping, let alone obtaining the great dragon sword soul. However, he soon discovered the abnormality in it. According to his opponent's hatred, he would definitely attack mercilessly as soon as he appeared. However, until now, the black-robed man had only emitted a shocking killing intent and hadn't made any excessive moves. Lin Xian was puzzled. The black-robed man wouldn't let him go, so there must be a reason why he hadn't attacked. Perhaps the black-robed man couldn't attack now, or perhaps this space didn't allow fighting. Lin Xian didn't know what the reason was, but he knew that at least he was safe for now. Moreover, he had a chance to fight for the great dragon sword soul. Thinking of this, his heart burned. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, he reached out with his soul. He didn't find any danger, so he took a step forward. Looking at Lin Xian's cautious and timid actions, the black-robed man's eyes were full of disdain. Even with his strength, he had only broken through a small distance. It was impossible for an ant like Lin Xian to get close. Sure enough, it didn't take long for Lin Xian's forehead to break out in cold sweat. He felt that there was a huge force in front of him that was preventing him from moving forward. If he forced his way forward, he would probably be smashed to pieces. As expected of the great dragon sword soul, every step was so dangerous. Lin Xian was shocked. He stopped and heaved a sigh of relief. He had only taken 3 steps, and there was still a distance of 300 feet between him and the huge altar in the center. Meanwhile, the black-robed man was about 200 feet away. "Ha ha ha, lowly worm. I don't know how you came in, but with your strength, you're dreaming if you want to get close to the altar. When I obtain the great dragon sword soul, I'll let you have a taste of what it means to live a life worse than death." The black-robed man sneered. Chapter 5:33. Lin Xian's face turned cold. He clenched his teeth and prepared to use the devouring sword. However, the great dragon sword was also one of the 5 swords in the world. It had the same power as the devouring sword, so it couldn't be devoured. Even if he used the devouring sword to forcefully move, he couldn't do it here. He sighed helplessly. He could only find another way. I wonder if the great dragon sword intent will work. Lin Xian began to use the great dragon sword intent in his body. The great dragon sword intent rushed out, forming a sharp aura. The next moment, the great dragon sword soul in the black altar suddenly trembled. It transformed into the shape of a long sword as if it could cut through time and space. What? He can actually resonate with the great dragon sword soul. The black-robed man was shocked. Then his face became very ugly. One had to know that he had previously mocked Lin Xian. In his opinion, how could a weak worm like Lin Xian be able to connect with the great dragon sword soul? His identity was extraordinary, and his cultivation was even more powerful. Even so, he couldn't connect with the great dragon sword soul. However, Lin Xian had released a trace of sword intent, which caused the great dragon sword soul to tremble. How is this possible? The black-robed man's face was very gloomy. He stared at Lin Xian and carefully felt the sword intent. Large success sword intent. He was slightly shocked. It was indeed rare for someone at the early stage of the spirit detecting realm to comprehend large success sword intent. Something's wrong. Although it's only large success sword intent, it feels stronger than other sword intents. What kind of sword intent can connect with the great dragon's sword soul? The black-robed man felt a bit uneasy. Seeing that the great dragon sword intent could connect with the great dragon sword soul, Lin Xian was also very happy. Next, he prepared to use the great dragon sword intent to open a path and see if he could cut through the invisible resistance to get close to the great dragon sword soul. He pulled out the wind shadow sword and waved it. Sword intent surged out, and a bright sword light slashed forward. Before the sword light could land, it encountered a great resistance. It was as if there was a pair of invisible hands holding the sword chi back. Lin Xian clenched his teeth and used the great dragon sword intent with all his strength. The bright sword chi slowly descended and cut through the invisible resistance. Although it was slow, it was much better than before. Relying on the great dragon sword intent, Lin Xian slowly approached the great dragon sword soul. On the other side, the black-robed man's face became even more gloomy. He snorted coldly, and the spiritual energy in his body surged, forming a terrifying pressure. With a wave of his hand, a black silhouette shot out. A gigantic beast claw appeared in the air and swiped forward, like a dragon claw. If it was outside, the claw might even be able to kill a venerable one. At this moment, the terrifying beast claw attack was not as effective as the great dragon sword will. This scene caused the black-robed man to be stunned. His heart went crazy, and he wished he could kill Lin Xian with a single palm strike. However, in this place he could only go mad in his heart. He couldn't break through the restriction at all, let alone kill it. Seeing the black-robed man's speed, Lin Xian's heart calmed down. A sneer appeared at the corners of his mouth, and he exerted even more effort to stimulate the great dragon sword intent. Although the black-robed man had arrived earlier than him, at this speed he would definitely reach the great dragon sword soul before the black-robed man. When that time came, the situation would be different. Just like that, the two of them opened up a path day and night and finally reached the 30-meter mark almost at the same time. In this place, Lin Xian could already feel the pressure brought about by the great dragon sword soul. Only now did he know why the black-robed man mocked him mercilessly in the beginning. Even a venerable one would not be able to get close to this aura. If it were not for the fact that he had the great dragon sword intent that came from the same source as the great dragon sword soul, the great dragon Sword Soul's aura would have killed him. As expected of the great dragon Sword Soul. It's so terrifying. What shocked him even more was that the black-robed man's cultivation was definitely above the Venerable One realm. Those with a cultivation above the Venerable One realm in the Black Dragon sect would definitely have a terrifying identity. On the other side, the black-robed man was even more shocked. Lin Xian could actually reach the 30-meter mark at the same time as him. This was something he had never expected. He looked at Lin Xian with a piercing, killing intent in his eyes. If there was a chance, he would quickly attack without mercy. Not only was this person a great threat to him, but he was also a huge hidden danger to the entire Black Dragon sect. Thinking of this, he stretched out his palm. The originally white palm glowed, and countless tiny black scales appeared, covering the entire palm in an instant. The scales were black and filled with a metallic luster, emitting an aura that made one's heart palpitate. On the black-robed man's 5 fingers, rays of dazzling light appeared. The light rolled and turned into 5 ferocious small dragons that roared at the sky. Roar! A deep dragon roar sounded and shook the entire space. The great dragon Sword Soul on the array platform began to roll and tremble. Obviously, the black-robed man could also cause the great dragon Sword Soul to tremble. This is true dragon Qi. Lin Xian was astonished. He stared closely at the palm and carefully examined it. In the end, he confirmed that it was the Qi of a true dragon. As far as he knew, true dragon Qi was buried deep in the earth's dragon veins and could not be found in ordinary places. In the entire Tianan region, true dragon Qi could only be found in the ancient Azure Dragon City. Moreover, the true dragon Qi was very special. Only the top 72 true dragon geniuses could be nourished and protected by it. However, that was only for a short period of time. After leaving the super arena, the true dragon Qi would disappear. As for others, including supremacies, they could not use the true dragon Qi, let alone bring it out of the ancient Azure Dragon City. Lin Xian had the great dragon sword's sword intent and the sword of devouring, which was why he could bring the true dragon Qi out. However, he did not expect that the black-robed man would also have true dragon Qi in his hands. These must have been collected at the Azure Dragon Gathering. Lin Xian was shocked. His opponent had indeed made sufficient preparations. The black-robed man waved his palm, and the true dragon Qi intertwined to form a dragon-shaped claw. He grabbed forward and tore the invisible resistance. Soon he was 90 feet away. The true dragon Qi was indeed extraordinary. Even with his extraordinary status and strength, he could not fully comprehend its mysteries. However, this did not affect his use of it. The black-robed man looked at Lin Xian with anger burning in his heart. These 5 strands of true dragon Qi were extremely precious. He had spent a lot of time and effort to bring them out of the ancient Azure Dragon City. If a cultivator could comprehend and absorb this true dragon Qi, their strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. If not for the great dragon Sword Soul, he would not have wasted such precious true dragon Qi. Moreover, in his plan, he would obtain more true dragon Qi in this Azure Dragon Gathering. This way, he would be able to obtain the great dragon Sword Soul faster. However, all of this was ruined by Lin Xian. Thinking of this, he attacked even more fiercely. Looking at the dragon-shaped claw, Lin Xian was surprised. So the true dragon Qi had such a use. He had originally thought that the true dragon Qi would only allow him to sense the location of the great dragon Sword Soul. However, it seemed that he had underestimated the true dragon Qi. Chapter 534. The speed of breaking through the restriction was definitely faster than his great dragon sword intent. In fact, this was very normal, but Lin Xian didn't know. The great dragon sword seal was just a simple seal, and its power was less than 1/10,000th of the great dragon sword. However, the true dragon chi, was different. It was formed by the earth's spiritual veins for thousands of years, and it was extremely mysterious and had endless uses. Therefore, the power of the true dragon chi had already surpassed Lin Xian's great dragon sword intent. However, Lin Xian wasn't worried about this. Competing with him in terms of true dragon chi was courting death, because no one could get more than him. When he first came to the lost place, he took away the true dragon chi of an entire 5-colored battlesuit. The true dragon chi in the battlesuit had already reached 10 feet, and the 5 true dragon chi in the black-robed man's hand added up to only 10 feet. It was not even 1/10 of Lin Xian's. Lin Xian sneered, and his fingers slid to the storage bag at his waist. The black-robed man was furious. An ant dared to laugh at him. He was simply tired of living. He decided that when he got the great dragon sword soul, he must extract Lin Xian's soul and skin him alive. However, in the next moment, he was stunned, and his pupils instantly shrank into the shape of a needle. He saw Lin Xian take out a 5-colored battle suit from the storage bag and quickly put on. On the battle suit, there was a 10-foot-long true dragon chi, which transformed into the appearance of a true dragon, roaring ferociously. The great dragon sword soul in the array platform roared as if it was going to break through the sky, and the vibration was dozens of times stronger than before. How is this possible? How can this kid have so much true dragon chi? Could he be an old monster's transformation? The black-robed man was shocked. He couldn't help but be surprised. After all, it took him nearly 10 years to bring out the true dragon chi that was more than 10 feet long. However, Lin Xian actually had a 10-foot-long true dragon chi, which was 10 times more than his. If someone said that he wasn't an old monster, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. "Who are you?" The black-robed man's voice was dignified. "What, are you scared?" Lin Xian sneered. "If you're scared, then scram." The black-robed man had already revealed his killing intent towards him, so of course he wouldn't give him any face. As for the great dragon sword soul, he would not give it up. "Brat, you're courting death," the black-robed man angrily shouted. Now he was certain that Lin Xian was not some old monster, but had used some unknown method to obtain the 30-meter-long true dragon chi from the Azure Dragon assembly. Even so, he was still shocked and angry. He hadn't felt this way for hundreds of years. The 30-meter-long true dragon chi was definitely faster than him. If this continued, he would not be able to obtain the great dragon sword soul. As expected, Lin Xian's 30-meter-long true dragon chi roared. Together with the sword chi in his hand, he quickly slashed forward. Before long, he had already arrived in front of the array platform. "Damned reptile, the great dragon sword spirit is mine!" The black-robed man roared. Suddenly he furrowed his brows and cursed. "Damn it! I actually forgot something important." Then a sinister smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Lowly human, so what if you have a 30-meter-long true dragon chi? The great dragon sword soul is destined to be mine." The black-robed man was no longer angry. Instead, he calmed down and began to move forward steadily. His actions were full of confidence, as if the great dragon sword soul was destined to be his. Lin Xian was secretly vigilant towards the black-robed man's abnormal behavior. According to the other party's character and the importance of the great dragon sword soul, the black-robed man would not give it up so easily. Now that he was doing this, he should have some backup plan. However, Lin Xian did not find any danger after careful inspection, so he could only move forward quickly. The 30-meter-long true dragon chi, together with the sword chi, was like a roaring true dragon, spiraling forward. The closer he got to the great dragon's sword soul, the more shocked Lin Xian became. In the end, his great dragon sword will also turned into a dragon-shaped sword chi, roaring toward the sky. Behind him, the black-robed man used the 30-meter-long true dragon chi in his hand, together with his powerful strength, to follow closely behind. Finally, Lin Xian came to the front of the altar, looking at the rolling great dragon sword soul. His heart was filled with excitement. The black-robed man was about 30 meters away. He stared at Lin Xian's back, and suddenly, black flames appeared in his eyes, jumping. It was like the fire of hell, gloomy and dark. Just as Lin Xian was about to collect the great dragon sword soul, the black dragon flame in his body suddenly jumped violently, as if it was out of control. In an instant, the black flames covered his entire body, burning fiercely. If it were not for the true dragon qi protecting his body, Lin Xian would have been burned to ashes. Lin Xian was shocked. He felt the violent power of the black dragon flame, and his face turned ugly. Oh no, the black dragon flame is backfiring. This was something he did not expect at all. Although the black dragon flame came from the outside world, he had completely refined it. However, he did not expect the black dragon flame to be out of control and burn him as well. He used the true dragon qi to defend himself, and at the same time he suddenly turned around and stared at the black-robed man. The black-robed man smiled evilly. On his scale-covered palm, there was a ball of black flames that jumped like the fire of hell, emitting a strange aura. Kid, the black dragon flame is not so easy to subdue. The black-robed man sneered. Now, I'll show you the true power of the black dragon flame. After saying that, he clenched his fist, and the ball of black dragon flame quickly rose and rolled in the air. Then, the black dragon flame on the surface of Lin Xian's body seemed to be stimulated and burned wildly. Black flames blossomed like flowers of the netherworld, and the terrifying heat melted the void. The heat was too terrifying, and even a supremacy would not be able to withstand it. Lin Xian finally knew why Venerable Lung was tortured by the black dragon flame for almost 100 years. It was too terrifying, and the heat was beyond his understanding. Even with the true dragon qi protecting his body, he would not be able to hold on for long. At the critical moment, he quickly used the sword of devouring and formed black vortexes around him. In the sky, the black vortexes spun quickly, forming a sucking force that absorbed the black dragon flame on the surface of Lin Xian's body. Behind him, the black-robed man was shocked again. He thought that Lin Xian was dead for sure, but he did not expect him to have a trump card that could neutralize his black dragon flame. One had to know that even a supremacy could not do anything against the black flames. Yet a spirit-detecting kid had the means to neutralize it. It was indeed shocking. However, he was determined to kill Lin Xian and obtain the great dragon sword soul at the same time. In the next moment, he attacked with all his might. Both of his arms were covered in black scales that had an eerie metallic luster. On the scales, endless black dragon flame burned. In the next moment, the weakened black flames on Lin Xian's body rose again and quickly intertwined to form a large flaming hand that grabbed the great dragon sword soul in front of him. Chapter 535. Destroy! Lin Xian roared as he activated the devouring sword with all his might. He was furious. Not only did the man want to kill him, but he also wanted to use him to obtain the great dragon sword soul. He would not let the black-robed man succeed. Furthermore, this time, he was determined to completely remove the black dragon flame from his body. The black dragon flames were powerful and had helped him defeat many strong enemies. However, the flames were not naturally formed. He seemed to have completely refined them, but there were hidden dangers. Now that he had met the black-robed man, this problem was exposed. Therefore, the black dragon flame could not stay in his body any longer. Moreover, he could vaguely guess the black-robed man's identity. To be able to control the black dragon flames like this, he was definitely the owner of the black dragon flames. In the black dragon sect, only one person had the black dragon flames, and that was the sect leader. Rumor had it that he was not a human, but a black dragon. He was born with a strange flame. Lin Xian did not expect that his opponent for the great dragon sword soul would be the sect leader of the Black Dragon sect. The sect leader was an extremely mysterious and powerful figure. Hundreds of years ago, he had led the Black Dragon sect to occupy half of the Tiannan region. Even the Martial Alliance was no match for him. Such a powerful sect leader had surpassed the honorable realm and reached an even higher realm. Lin Xian was about to face such a terrifying figure. However, this was a special place. He could not attack directly. Even if his opponent was the sect leader of the Black Dragon sect, it would not be easy to take his life. Strong soul power gushed out. Lin Xian activated the devouring sword with all his might, and a pitch-black sword appeared in front of him. Whirlpools appeared on the sword and spun rapidly as if they were going to suck in one soul. The black dragon flames on Lin Xian's body suddenly became stronger. They intertwined into a large black hand and grabbed the great dragon's sword soul. Just as the large black hand was about to touch the great dragon's sword soul, a pitch-black sword appeared in front of Lin Xian. It was covered with whirlpools that spun wildly. A strange sucking force quickly formed and absorbed the black dragon flames into the large flaming hand. Looking at the pitch-black sword, the black-robed man's pupils shrank. He did not know why, but he felt a tremor from his soul. Soon he turned his head and didn't dare to look anymore because he realized that if he continued to look, his soul would very likely be sucked in. What sword is this? So strange. The black-robed man was shocked. His cultivation was extraordinary, and he had been running amok in the southern heaven region. He had never encountered such a strange thing before, yet a young boy actually had such a strange item on him. He even felt that the pitch-black sword was not inferior to the great dragon sword. As soon as he thought of this, he was shocked. Then the black-robed man quickly shook his head and got rid of this thought. The origin of the great dragon sword was extraordinary. Legend had it that it was the sword with the strongest attack in the world. He had also discovered this from the ancient books of his clan. Otherwise, he would not have known that there was such an offensive saint technique in the world. Although the black longsword was strange, it couldn't be compared to the great dragon sword. However, in the next moment, the black-robed man's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. After the black vortex sword appeared, the flaming palm formed by the black dragon's flames quickly disappeared, completely devoured. However, the great dragon's sword soul crazily churned, forming a dragon-shaped long sword. An incomparably violent aura gushed out from the sword tip, resembling a true dragon, malevolently roaring, tearing apart the heavens. The aura was so strong that it could almost destroy everything. Lin Xian bore the brunt of the attack. However, he had the great dragon's sword intent, which came from the same source as the great dragon's sword soul, so he would not be attacked. However, the black-robed man was different. He was only about 10 meters away from the great dragon sword soul, and the aura made his heart tremble. It was as if thousands of swords had slashed his body, tearing him apart. In an instant, his forehead and back were covered in cold sweat. It was as if his entire body had been soaked in cold water. What shocked him even more was that facing the great dragon sword soul, an uncontrollable fear and trembling arose in his heart. This kind of thing had never happened to him before. How is this possible? The great dragon sword soul has been activated. The black-robed man was horrified, and his body trembled slightly. In his current state, it was no longer a matter of whether he could seize the great dragon sword or not. He was afraid that a trace of the great dragon sword soul's aura would be enough to kill him. Damn it! How can the great dragon sword soul be activated? The black-robed man's face was ferocious. He wanted to retreat, but he found that his body seemed to be fixed and he couldn't control it at all. According to what he had learned from the ancient books, the great dragon sword soul had always been in a state of hibernation. It could only be awakened under extremely special circumstances. However, the probability of this happening was very small, and it was almost impossible. This was also the reason why the black-robed man dared to seize the great dragon's sword soul. However, he didn't expect that the great dragon's sword soul would awaken now. Could it be because of that sword? The black-robed man was shocked as he looked up. In the void, the great dragon's sword soul had formed a dragon-shaped longsword, and it emitted an endless violent aura. On the opposite side, there was a pitch-black sword with countless vortexes vibrating on it. It was incomparably strange. The pitch-black sword didn't fear the great dragon's sword soul at all, and it resisted with great force. The black-robed man was stunned. This was beyond his understanding. Lin Xian was also shocked. He didn't expect this to happen. Now, the devouring sword had completely broken away from his control. Although the situation was very bad, it could be considered a good thing for him. However, his soul force would probably be sucked dry by the devouring sword. In the void, the great dragon sword soul and the devouring sword confronted each other, and then an endless light erupted. A gigantic true dragon phantom appeared, filling the entire space with a terrifying aura. On the other side, the devouring sword spun, forming countless terrifying black holes that rapidly spread across the sky as though it wanted to devour the heavens. Lord Alcohol, what should we do? Lin Xian asked with a voice transmission. What will happen when 2 of the 5 swords of the world meet? I'm really looking forward to it. There was a hint of excitement in Lord Alcohol's voice. Lin Xian's face fell, and the corners of his mouth twitched. From the looks of it, Lord Alcohol wouldn't take action. Then, he looked up and stared intently at the sky. Endless darkness spread as the devouring sword operated crazily, as though it wanted to devour the true dragon phantom. The true dragon phantom roared ferociously, transforming into a shocking sword chi that slashed in all directions. The 2 energies collided, producing a destructive aura that rapidly spread and surged upwards. The surrounding restrictions were shattered, and the mysterious palace was penetrated. A sword chi and a boundless black hole rushed into the sky. In the outside world, around Whitebone Mountain, 8 native warriors were using all their spiritual energy to form an array formation to suppress the area below. The huge astral array formation shone, emitting a terrifying aura as dazzling light shone down. The ground cracked, and cracks that were thousands of meters long spread out in all directions. At that moment, half of the peerless, ferocious beast that was suppressed had already broken out of the ground. A beast claw that was like a huge mountain crushed an area. It was covered in scales that shone brightly as it resisted the astral array formation. Every strike caused countless cracks to appear in the void. It was terrifying. Elder, what should we do? We can't suppress it anymore. Chapter 536. Hold on. The elder shouted. This beast has been suppressed for thousands of years and has lost a lot of its strength. As long as we persevere, we will be able to suppress it. Everyone nodded and regained their confidence. They quickly used their spiritual power. At this moment, the lost shrine behind them suddenly shook, and the entire Whitebone Mountain shook. What happened? The 8 ancient martial artists were terrified, especially that elder at the Exalt Realm. He had an astounded expression as if he'd seen a ghost. He knew about the mysteries of the lost shrine. It was impossible for such a thing to happen. Could it be the influence of the thief from the outside world? The young man in the beast robe asked. However, before they could finish guessing, the top of the lost shrine suddenly exploded, and 2 terrifying forces shot up into the sky. One was like a real dragon, which was extremely terrifying, as if it was going to tear the world apart. On the other side was boundless darkness. It was rapidly devouring, able to devour the entire sky. The 2 forces were so powerful that they instantly crushed the 8 ancient martial artists. They were lying on the ground, unable to move. At this moment, everyone in the lost place looked at the sky in horror. They were shocked and crazy, and all of them wanted to rush over. However, the next moment, the majestic forces in the sky pressed everyone down, making them unable to move. Near the White Bone Mountain, the 8 ancient martial artists were suppressed, and the starlight formation instantly dimmed. The ferocious beast below seemed to have sensed something, and it suddenly attacked. Its huge claws and long tail attacked quickly. Crack! The starlight formation was shattered like a mirror, and it fell to the ground. The ground shook as if there was an earthquake. A huge creature rushed out from the ground, and its roar shook the surroundings. The black figure shuttled back and forth, and as soon as it appeared, the surrounding mountains and trees collapsed. Ha 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 ha, Ben Huang is finally out! An extremely arrogant voice resounded in the sky. The 8 ancient martial artists were shocked. They looked up with difficulty at the huge black figure, and they were so shocked that they could not speak. This ferocious beast could speak human language? Moreover, this ferocious beast looked like a dragon. The 8 ancient martial artists of the lost place were stunned. The ferocious beast that they were suppressing was a dragon. Dragons were extremely special creatures, and many ancient martial artists worshipped them as totems. Moreover, dragons were extremely powerful creatures and were known as divine beasts. They were not something that ordinary demonic beasts could compare to. As for the 8 natives, they were only obeying the last words passed down in their clan. They were to guard the ferocious beast below the White Bone Mountain. However, they didn't expect that the ferocious beast was a dragon. Moreover, it was an incomparably powerful dragon. This dragon's entire body was red, and its body was 1,000 feet long. As it coiled in the air, it cast a huge shadow. At this time, the dragon did not pay attention to the 8 indigenous warriors, but looked at the lost temple on the White Bone Mountain. The great dragon's sword soul has awakened. Could it be that those people have returned? That's not right. It's not them. There's actually someone who can contend against the great dragon's sword soul. The dark red dragon looked up at the sky, revealing a look of surprise. I don't care anymore. Today, Ben Huang is free. I must take down the great dragon's sword soul. At that time, I'll be free to roam the heavens and the earth. Let's see who dares to stop me. After saying that, the huge dragon claw reached out and grabbed at the temple. There's actually someone. The dark red dragon was surprised. With a wave of its claw, it grabbed out 2 figures from the lost temple. Within the lost temple, Lin Xian's face was pale. He was constantly swallowing pills to quickly recover his consumed soul force. Behind him, the black-robed man's face was fierce. He revolved all the strength in his body to resist the berserk aura around him. However, this strength was too great. It was not something he could withstand. He felt his body deform bit by bit. It wouldn't be long before he completely split apart and turned into a bloody mist. "No, I won't die," the black-robed man roared. As the leader of the Black Dragon cult, his strength was extraordinary. He had never encountered such a predicament before. The black-robed man raised his head with difficulty. He looked at Lin Xian's back, revealing a thick killing intent. He couldn't understand why Lin Xian was fine. It had to be known that even he couldn't withstand this pressure. But this little spirit-detecting thief was actually safe and sound. This was too strange. He was angry and unwilling, followed by a thick sense of despair. Just as he felt that he was about to die, an inexplicable strength suddenly supported his body and pulled him out of the lost temple. At the same time, Lin Xian was also left. In an instant, Lin Xian and the black-robed man left the lost temple and arrived at the foot of the White Bone Mountain. What happened? The black-robed man was shocked. He didn't expect that he could survive such a situation. Then he let out a sigh of relief and looked around. But in the next moment, his heart beat wildly and he was stunned. In front of him was a huge creature circling, filling the entire sky. A huge shadow shrouded him. Dragon! The black-robed man's pupils shrank. Lin Xian was also shocked. This was that peerless beast. It was actually a dragon. He was extremely shocked. He had always thought that dragons were only creatures of legends. He didn't expect to see one here. In front of this beast, he felt like he couldn't breathe. TCH, it's actually two insects. Ben Huang was happy for nothing. The huge dragon head spoke in human language with a disdainful expression. Lin Xian was stunned. This dragon could speak? The black-robed man's body trembled. He asked in a trembling voice, "May I know which clan senior you are from?" Although he was the leader of the Black Dragon sect and had extraordinary strength, in front of this dragon he was as weak as a baby. He didn't dare to be disrespectful at all. "Which clan?" The dragon snorted. "Why? Do you want to claim kinship with Ben Huang?" "I wouldn't dare. It's just that I'm from the Black Dragon clan. Now that I've met Senior, I'm really surprised." The black-robed man bowed and said, "Black Dragon clan?" The dragon was disdainful. Then it shouted coldly, "You're just a little flood dragon. How dare you call yourself a dragon? Ben Huang, you must be tired of living." This voice was like thunder, exploding in the surroundings. The black-robed man retreated continuously and finally sat on the ground. He was extremely shocked and furious. His Black Dragon clan was a natural variant and was a high and mighty existence. When had he ever been ridiculed like this? If it was in the past, he would have definitely annihilated the dragon with a single palm strike. But now, facing this huge dragon, although he was unwilling, he was helpless. He could only grit his teeth. At the same time, what shocked him even more was the dragon's strength. As the leader of the Black Dragon sect, his strength had long since surpassed the Venerable Realm and reached the Half-Step King realm. It was difficult for him to find a match in the Southern Heaven region. However, the dragon's voice was able to injure him. This strength was too terrifying. Probably even King Realm experts couldn't do it. He didn't dare imagine what realm this dragon had reached. However, he knew that he had no room to resist before this dragon. It could probably kill him with a raise of its hand. Lin Xian stood at the side. He was also shocked. He didn't expect that the dragon's sword soul would cause so many things to happen. First, the mysterious leader of the Black Dragon sect fought with him. Now, an even more powerful dragon had appeared. A single roar could injure the leader of the Black Dragon sect. This was a peerless beast that no one could defeat. Chapter 537. The dark red dragon glanced at Lin Xian and then ignored him. It no longer paid any attention to him and looked up at the sky. It couldn't be helped. Lin Xian was only at the early stage of the spirit detecting realm, and he was the weakest among them. In the eyes of the dragon, Lin Xian was probably no different from an ant. "When Ben Huang obtains the dragon sword soul, I'll roast all of you." The dark red dragon roared and clawed at the dragon's sword soul in the sky. The huge dragon claw covered the sky and instantly tore the void apart. A vast pressure covered the entire sky. In an instant, the huge dragon claw arrived before the dragon's sword soul and clawed down. The dragon's sword soul roared and transformed into a true dragon that roared at the sky. "Damn it! If you were a true dragon, Ben Huang wouldn't dare to attack you. But you're just a sword soul, and you dare to attack Ben Huang? Be a good boy and fuse with Ben Huang." The dark red dragon sneered and soared into the sky, its huge body stirring up the wind and clouds. As the dark red dragon entered the battle, the huge black vortex in the sky quickly shrunk and transformed into a pitch-black sword that stood in the sky. In the next moment, it disappeared as well. Below, Lin Xian's body shook. He knew that the Devourer sword soul had returned to his body. He didn't act rashly. Instead, he carefully observed the surroundings. especially the Black Dragon cult's sect master. If the Black Dragon cult suddenly attacked, he would have to flee immediately. Looking at the intense energy fluctuations in the sky, the black-robed youth's face was gloomy. Then he stared at Lin Xian with boundless killing intent in his eyes. It was all because of this damned kid that he had obstructed his plan. Otherwise, he would have obtained the dragon's sword so long ago. How could there be so many problems? Thinking of this, he snorted coldly. A ball of black dragon flames appeared on his palm, and he quickly swung it out. This place was different from the Lost Shrine. There were no invisible restrictions here. With his half-step king realm cultivation, he could kill Lin Xian with a raise of his hand. Lin Xian was shocked, and all the hair on his body stood on end. He used the Devour sword with all his strength and prepared to flee. However, a ray of light was even faster than him. It flew over from the sky and directly collided with the black flame, causing it to dissipate. Then, the black-robed man continuously retreated. His body trembled, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. At this moment, a cold voice came from the sky. Ben Huang's food can only be touched by Ben Huang. Anyone else who touches it without permission will die. So, you should just wait obediently for Ben Huang to barbecue you. The black-robed man's attack was interrupted by the giant dragon's move, and his expression immediately became extremely ugly. To think that he, the dignified leader of the Black Dragon cult, did not even have the chance to fight back in front of this giant dragon. It was really sullen. Seeing that his attack had failed, he didn't dare to act rashly again. He only stared at Lin Xian with a gloomy expression. Lin Xian's face darkened, and a deep killing intent rose in his heart towards the black-robed man. If he had the chance, he would do it without hesitation. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Lin Xian calmed down. The most important thing now was to obtain the great dragon sword soul. Xiao Xuanzi, don't worry. This great dragon sword soul needs to be suppressed after it awakens. After that stupid dragon suppresses it, I have a way to let you obtain the great dragon sword soul, Lord Alcohol said with a voice transmission. With Lord Alcohol's guarantee, Lin Xian was relieved. He began to consume all kinds of spirit wine to adjust his condition to peak condition. In the sky, the dark red dragon and the terrifying great dragon sword soul collided. Every strike could tear through the void. The entire sky was filled with cracks. The cracks were hideous and terrifying, shocking anyone who looked at them. As the great dragon sword soul was not controlled by anyone and had been passively awakened, it rapidly dimmed without the stimulation of the sword of devouring. The dark red dragon laughed maniacally as it quickly released a vast amount of energy, sealing the surrounding space. Without the stimulation of external energy, the great dragon sword soul finally fell into a deep sleep again. The dark red dragon roared at the sky as its huge dragon claws enveloped the great dragon sword soul. Ha 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 ha! The great dragon sword soul has finally been obtained by Ben Huang. Let's see who dares to stop me in the future. The dark red dragon roared loudly and arrogantly. TCH, what a stupid dragon. Lin Xian suddenly curled his lips and laughed. His voice wasn't loud, but it was like a clap of thunder that left everyone dumbfounded. Is this fellow all right? He actually dares to anger the dragon at this moment? Even the black-robed man's eyelids twitched. He had no idea what Lin Xian was up to. The 8 native warriors were even more dumbfounded as they stared blankly at Lin Xian. The youth in beast-robed sneered. He felt that Lin Xian's actions were undoubtedly courting death. Indeed, Lin Xian's words made the dragon's laughter come to an abrupt halt. The huge head turned like a meteor that enveloped the sky. The dark red eyes emitted 2 beams of divine light as they instantly stared at Lin Xian. Instantly, everyone felt as though they had been pierced through. Lin Xian's heart raced. Under this gaze, He felt as though all his secrets had been seen through. Thankfully, he had experienced countless situations and was able to maintain his composure. "Punk, how dare you speak of Ben Huang? Aren't you afraid of death?" Lin Xian sneered. Following that, he said according to what Lord Alcohol had secretly taught him, "You don't believe me when I say you are stupid. Is it that easy to fuse with the great dragon Sword Soul?" The dark red dragon's huge head turned before a loud voice sounded. "You little worm, do you know of a fusion method? You don't look more than 17 or 18 years old. I believe you don't even know what the great dragon Sword Soul is, right? Punk, you better wait obediently for me to roast you. Otherwise, if you anger Ben Huang, I'll eat you alive." Clearly, the dark red dragon didn't believe Lin Xian's words at all. However, Lin Xian remained calm as he slowly said, "The great dragon Sword Soul is one of the 5 swords in the world. It's formed from the great dragon sword's origins and is an offensive sacred art in the world. Although you are of the Eastern Divine Dragon race, it's impossible for you to fuse with the great dragon Sword Soul in your current situation, unless you want to explode and die." Upon hearing that, the gigantic dragon head snorted coldly. 2 dragon breaths spewed out from its nostrils that tore through the void. "Little worm, I've underestimated you. You actually know of my origins?" The dark red dragon was surprised. The 8 natives were also shocked. They only knew that the dark red dragon was very powerful, but they didn't know anything else. Even the black-robed man didn't know. He looked at Lin Xian in puzzlement as the killing intent in his heart grew stronger. This youth was too mysterious. Not only did he come here to find the great dragon sword, but he also knew many things that he didn't know. Such an enemy had to be eliminated. The red dragon's eyes darted around as he asked, "Then tell me, what method do you have?" "There is a method, but you have to agree to a condition of mine." "You dare to negotiate conditions with me?" The red dragon laughed. "All right, Ben Huang will listen to what you have to say, little worm. It's very simple. Help me kill him." Lin Xian pointed at the black-robed man. "With your strength, it should be a piece of cake." Hearing that, the black-robed man's eyelids twitched violently as his expression turned extremely ugly. "You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.